You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up. Keep going. I'd have been knocked down 1,000 times, yeah, I traveled around 1,000 miles, feeling so tired, but you know I can't stop now. Came way too far, won't throw in the towel. It ain't looking real good, but I won't give up. Pac said that I gotta keep my head up, so I ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I'm standing right here. Demons all around, but I ain't got no fear. You can kick me around, but I won't stay down. I run this town, ain't backing down. We going in rounds. Yeah, the winds will blow, but these roots too deep. I'm on my feet, the underdog, and I won't be beat. In the fire now, but I won't be burned. I was waiting for this, and now it's my turn. Sweat on my face, blood in my eyes. Been underground, now I aim for the sky. Don't quit now, you can last longer. All these wounds only making you stronger. Don't give up now, yeah, you gotta climb. But we give it to all until the end of time.
We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. Until the end of time. Till the end of time.
Yeah. Been through a whole lot, but we overcome. Enemies in our face, but we ain't gon' run. Never drift off course, always stay on mission. Won't slow us down, cause we way too driven. Yet we put in these 10,000 hours. You won't stop us, cause we got the power. Whole world is watching, and I hope they ready. From here on out, we are legendary. You can kick me around, but I won't stay down. I run this town, ain't backing down. We going in rounds. Yeah, the winds will blow, but these roots too deep. I'm on my feet, the underdog, and I won't be beat. Turn the lights up now, welcome to the show. I ain't never gonna stop, this is all I know. My eyes on the prize, until I die. I'm gonna rise, level up to the skies. Yeah, we here now, we were chosen. All the pain brought us to this moment. Watch everything we work for fall in line. We gon' give it our all until the end of time.
We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. Until the end of time. Till the end of time. Until the end of time. Till the end of time.
We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Until the end of time. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time.
Until the end of time. Till the end of time.
Beats up! We're trapped by...
You hypnotize me. You hypnotize me. You hypnotize me. You hypnotize me. You hypnotize me.
Yo, what is up? Good morning, everyone. Original OC with you on the Original OC channel. It is Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025. Thanks for bearing with the long intro. But we're doing a morning stream, and we're going to be talking about the lead up to Watches and Wonders. And anything else you guys want to talk about? Hey, already 20 people watching, which is unbelievable. Let's get to 10 likes. Let's get to 10 likes right out of the gate. And let's see who is in the chat. We've got Goldfinger 0808 first in the chat. What's up, Goldfinger? We'll be seeing Goldfinger in Geneva at Watches and Wonders. Andy Lewis in the chat. Howdy, y'all. We've got Vamal in the chat. Boston. This is not a clickbait show to get Boston on the panel. I repeat, it is not a clickbait themed show. But we will be talking about Patek Philippe and the growing concern within the watch community over Terry Stern's strategy for the company. And we may start a poll in a little bit. If you guys have ideas for a poll, let me know in the chat. I was thinking something like, do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? That seems pretty cut and dry, right? It's pretty black or white. Do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? Hey, let's actually fire that one up. That's a pretty good one. Let's start the poll. I'll type it up right now. Do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? Let's just make it a simple yes or no. Simple yes or no question. No gray area. No gray area at all. It's either yes or no. You can't, well, I agree with him on this, but I don't necessarily agree with him on that. Logan Hall's Grill Streams in the chat. What's up, Logan? By the way, huge shout out to Andy Lewis, to Vimal, and Logan Hall, all members of the original OC channel. Thank you very much. John D. Oh gosh, look at this. An early morning stream. Grabbing my pre-workout and some caffeine for this. This should be a good way to start the day. Yes, it's going to be an amazing way to start the day. This is going to be a fiery debate, guys, because this has been brewing for quite a while. This has been brewing since last October, ever since the launch of the Cubitus. People have been concerned, very concerned, over the strategy that Terry Stern is taking the company. Actually, for several years now, with the discontinuation of the steel 5711. Well, the announced discontinuation of the steel 5711, then the introduction of a green dial 5711, and then the introduction of a Tiffany and co-branded 5711. I mean, so the concerns over the strategy have been there for several years. So let's talk about it. It's time to get it all out in the open, guys. It's time to get it all out in the open. Is Patek Philippe headed in the right strategy, heading in the right direction, or is Terry Stern taking it off track in recent years? We shall discuss. Look at this. We do have Boston Collector in the chat. Boston Collector, I love Patek Philippe so much it hurts sometimes. Marshmallow at the Patek Philippe Cubitus party, March 2025. Yes, it is true. Marshmallow was the DJ at the Cubitus launch party in Miami a few days ago. Boston isn't wrong. Is Patek doing the right thing by courting young kids at raves with Marshmallow? I don't know. Listen, they did do it. I mean, there's no denying that they did it. They had a party with Marshmallow DJing, and they invited a bunch of kids there for the launch of the Cubitus. Now, was it the right thing to do? I don't know. You tell me. Hey, look at this. John D kicking off the show with a fat super chat. Here's to a good morning stream and a hot cup of coffee for you to get the wheels rolling. Thank you so much, John D. And by the way, we have also started a goal for the show, and inspired by Logan Hall with his flamingo blue highlighted comment. Thank you so much for that. Towards the YouTube Premium Fund. Okay, so there's a goal. If we accomplish the goal, I get the YouTube Premium, and I'll buy it right on the air. So there. The challenge has been accepted. If the community wants YouTube Premium, I'll get YouTube Premium. Hey, we got Aussie Expat in the chat. Aussie says Terry Stern wants to be the next Hublot or AP. Capture the wannabe rapper market. Got Tom Voss in the chat. Good morning. There's a big discussion in the watch community WhatsApp group about Patek Philippe this morning. Patek Philippe stock down 56% in early morning trading. Yeah. Hey, we got Tan in Paris, France joining. Good morning, OC, and thanks for the early stream. Yeah, the stream is a subscribers only stream. You have to be a subscriber in order to see it. You have to be a subscriber in order to participate. And we've timed it to welcome our friends in Europe. Pedro Bermudez is in the chat. By the way, thank you, Boston Collector, for being a member. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Tan for being a member, and Pedro Bermudez joining us from Puerto Rico, also a member. Julius Caesar, good morning, everyone. A member of the Original OC channel. It's morning here, Peruka. It's morning here. It is 11 a.m. 11 a.m. world time. 11 a.m. world time. So yeah, I mean, you guys are ahead of world time there. We have a poll running. The poll, I want to get to at least 25 votes in the poll. Maybe we'll wait for 50 votes. Do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? Vote in the poll and then share your thoughts in the chat, or jump on the panel. If the link to the panel is hidden, I'll drop it again here. I know sometimes I think the poll covers up the pinned link. But looking forward to seeing Peruka in Geneva, Switzerland in only 3 weeks, guys. We are 3 weeks away from Watches and Wonders. The pressure is on Terry Stern. The pressure has never been greater for Terry Stern to deliver incredible novelties at Watches and Wonders. In October of last year, he introduced the Cubitus to massive fanfare in Munich, Germany. And ever since then, people have been questioning Terry Stern's strategy. Actually, even before then. Is this the right move? Should he completely reverse course? Like, there's nothing set in stone. He doesn't have to stay on his path. Hey, what's up? Where are you right now? Are you? Wait, hold on. Let me guess. You are outside Penn Station in New York City.
I am coming out.
Don't ask me how I know that, but it's a very recognizable awning there. That new glass awning that they built outside Penn Station is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all right. Not bad.
So listen, I think something's been bubbling under the surface for several months, as you know, and as we're 3 weeks away from Watches and Wonders, I think it's fair to kind of bring it out in the open, and that is the haters are intensifying their criticism of Terry Stern. The haters are desperate. I think the haters are frustrated that they're not able to continue their journey with Patek Philippe. And they're taking it out on Terry Stern. And they're trying to say that he's not leading the company in the right direction. I think there's fair criticism on all sides. But I think over the next 3 weeks, you're going to see a potential civil war in the watch community.
It's already happening.
That's a little bit of hyperbole there. We're going to see a watch civil war when it comes to Patek Philippe, because there are people who love AP, there are people who love Patek Philippe, and I think there's some genuine concerns about Stern's strategy.
Yeah, he's not doing everything right. He's not doing everything right. But the issue is never, what could Patek do better? The issue is always AP people coming in and doing their tribal civil war bullshit about how AP's great. versus Patek. They're not even in the same league. I mean, let's be honest. AP came on the scene, what, 7 years ago, where people started to talk about them?
Mhm.
Patek's been on the scene for 70 years, 100 years. How much does AP do at auction?
Hmm.
How many people collect more than 3 APs of different complication and different lines? Nobody. They collect more than 3 Royal Oaks, and they're only doing it because they're over retail. The biggest group of people that are the most full of shit in watch collecting are AP journey people. There is no bigger group of liars on the face of the earth than people on the AP journey,
Hmm.
because they're angry that they had to buy codes and offshores that don't fit to get Royal Oaks, and now they're stuck. They're stuck not only on the journey, they're stuck with Ilaria, the worst appointed CEO of a watch brand of all time, a DEI hire in a world that is now going back to conservatism, where the largest bank in the world CEO sits down and says, "You're coming back to work 5 days a week, and you better have your Navy suit on." That's where we're going. While AP's out there with they thems trying to sell codes in bullshit marketing. Good luck. They're not even in the same league. So they make a Cubitus. Oh, they made a bad Cubitus. Okay, one launch. You'd still say yes. The people that hate on it, if they get called for the steel green one, they're still going to say yes. But they can't even get a steel green one. That's the funny thing. I could go into AP right now and get an offshore code, probably off the street. You can't get a Cubitus. They're full of
Yeah.
shit.
So you sense that there is a coordinated hate campaign that's being foisted by frustrated Audemars Piguet enthusiasts who are disgruntled about their journey.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
trying to take it out on one of the most iconic and storied and respected Swiss watch brands. And they're predicting doom for Patek Philippe when actually Patek Philippe is doing better than ever.
No, that's just Boston Collector.
Hey, look at this. We have a major Patek Philippe enthusiast in the chat, Russell996. I mean, he puts his money where his mouth is. He has one of the most amazing collections. What is the concern with Patek Philippe, he asks. They are firing on all cylinders with the widest range of pieces of any manufacturer. What's not to like?
Yeah. AP makes 2 watches. They make 2 watches. Patek makes, I don't even know how many different lines of watches and complications. And in a time where the dress watch is so-called dead, sold out of every watch. And by the way, they sell more than 20,000 units more than AP. How about we do this? How about we raise AP to 70,000 units per year?
Let's see
And
what
we'll
happens.
see let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You know what will happen, OC?
Mhm.
The bottom 3 colors of steel Royal Oaks will be below retail. The codes will be 70% off. The offshores will be 50% off. The journey will die. That's what will happen. And all of a sudden, less people will want it because they only make 1 watch that people want, and that's a Royal Oak. That's it. They make 1 watch.
Mhm.
And I don't even tolerate the people that say Patek makes 2 watches, and then they come in and say Nautilus or Aquanaut. You have no history. You don't understand Patek. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's as stupid as saying, Rolex only makes 2 watches. The Yachtmaster in the 1908. That's how dumb you sound. You missed 85% of the brand, which is still selling out in a time where dress watches are not selling. We go back the other way, forget it. Forget it.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Do you think it was the right strategy? At the time, Terry Stern said 4 years ago now that he felt like the brand that too many people were focused on the Nautilus. And that was becoming an unfair representation of the brand. And he didn't want that collection to represent the image of Patek Philippe. And so he made a calculated decision to start a long and methodical phase out of the steel 5711. In
No.
retrospect, do you think that is the right strategy, or do you disagree with what my characterization of what happened?
I just disagree. I think it wasn't. Hey, let's see. This is familiar, right?
Hey, New Wanzhou. Yep. We've had many dinners there.
Yeah, no, it's just not accurate about any of that. You know, you have to understand that 2019 everything was fine. I'd walk these streets right here, and everybody would be in navy slacks, white shirt, blue shirt. You wouldn't know what watch they have, and the biggest flex would be, you know, do you have your initials on your cuff or on the, you know, on your stomach? Are your loafers Gucci or bespoke? That's how they flex. After COVID, the way that you flex has been, how expensive is your black t-shirt? And let me see your gigantic sports watch on rubber. We're going back the other way. You know why? Too many people have it. And the elite people don't want others to have what they have. That's what this entire game is about. Every journey from every brand, everybody's competing to get the stuff that you can't. That's the whole point. It's the whole point. If I walk into a room and me and MJ have the same blue ceramic offshore,
To lose.
It's
You
about-
both lose.
not only will we both lose, but one of us will never wear that watch to anything ever again. Because that can never happen. That's not supposed to happen at that level. We're supposed to show up and 3 people have Daytonas. You're not supposed to show up and 3 people have the same offshore. The offshore and the code are more rare than the Royal Oak by a long shot. Far more rare. Nobody wants them.
Mm.
Nobody wants them. Why is that? And who is this younger crowd? How many people that are young can afford to spend 30 to 50K a year on watches? I mean, how many people have a W-2 income where after taxes they're making 400,000 or 500,000 a year to even justify doing that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right?
Here, let me go even harder. Why are the brands even selling? Why would the brands even sell? I have to be careful here. Why would the brands, all of them,
Yeah, you're walking through
At Holy
Koreatown. Be careful.
why would the brands even sell watches to people below 40 that have a job? If you notice the people in our community that get watches, they're cryptic about what they tell their essays. They don't tell them they have a job. But that's insider baseball. That's for the crowd to figure out. I'm not going to go any further on that. Just being real.
Yeah. What do you make of the recent marketing efforts by both AP and Patek to kind of appeal to a younger demographic, to
Stupid.
put forth images of kids with beach balls on the beach and
So with
dropping ice
Patek,
cream
you
on the
gotta-
sand?
with Patek, it was a one-time effort, which was what did I call him? Percocet Pete. Percocet Pete was the long-haired, French-looking dude with the Cubitus on the rooftop. Remember Percocet Pete?
Mm-hmm.
So they did the whole Percocet Pete thing. Terry got all butthurt that the launch didn't go right because it got leaked. And then what do, OC? You say, okay, I want people to like this watch. How do I fix this? Well, you throw a party in Miami with a couple of hundred of the most hyped Instagram people in America, in the most hyped city in America, and you make it all about the Cubitus. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, he'll probably
Will they-
continue to do that all year long. He'll probably do parties in
Yeah.
every major city all over the world.
People are like, oh, we don't like that. I don't like it either. But is it going to work? Probably. What does AP do? We just keep making stupid Instagram ads with the trench coat fuck standing in the snow. The Brazos going back to our go back to our
La
heritage. Whatever,
Brassou.
yeah, whatever sort of bullshit. I mean, Does anybody care? Wait a minute, I just saw. Oh no, I thought that was Breitling. Is there a new Breitling boutique? It's not. It's the luxury living group.
Yeah, it looks like Bentley. Looks like Breitling, right? The old Breitling wings logo.
Yes. Yes. So I just think it's all people are full of shit, and with everything going below retail, people are actually going to buy what they like, which is good. And I don't think people really bought things they didn't like at mass. They bought things they were willing to tolerate until they got things they like. But now there's literally no reason. There's literally, at least the Patek journey still makes sense. Why? Well, I want a classic dress watch from the best dress watch manufacturer in the world. What can you start me at? We can start you at a Calatrava, an annual or perpetual calendar. That makes sense. Hey, I'd like the most iconic watch that you mass produce from AP. Can I have a Royal Oak, please? No. 12% of our production is codes. Can you go over there? But that doesn't look like a Royal Oak. You don't like our brand, you piece of shit. Leave the store. Okay. That doesn't make sense, OC. It defies, it doesn't matter what the argument is, it defies common sense. That's it. It's that simple. Rich people have money because they're usually smart, usually, not always, and they're catching on. They're willing to tolerate these things because it was profitable to tolerate them. Now it is not. And AP is not a brand that's going to weather a storm when the first two watches are 50% off. Why would you do it? Have you looked at the stock market this week? How many people do you think are saying yes to the call? Unless it's over retail. Let's be honest.
Yeah. There's a lot of frustration and anticipation heading into watches and wonders. I think people are pulling for the brands to make the right decisions, release some great watches, and by the way, modify your allocation strategies and completely revamp your customer experience so you're treating people the right way and you're treating them with respect and you're being more transparent and you're also getting people the watches that people want. And I think there's a lot of frustration as these journeys are getting harder and harder and harder. People are concentrating their energy and their focus on 4 brands and 4 brands only. We've talked about this. All of the industry's profits are concentrated in 4 brands. And you're starting to see battle lines between, you have Rolex and Patek, the 2 kings. And then you have people trying to unseat them. You have kind of the upstarts, the Richard Mille, very good performance watch, very, very expensive. Then you have AP. Again, they were a nothing brand up until 5 or 6 years ago. And they're a one-trick pony, but the pony is a great pony. And
Great. Everybody should own one if you can own one if you have the ability. Sure. Absolutely. A staple. But you're talking about the steel Royal Oak, right? Steel Sub, Steel Royal Oak, Steel Daytona, Steel GMT. Cool. Great. Do I need a fucking royal blue ceramic perpetual calendar?
no.
Yeah, it's a
You
real
don't.
staple. Why does that sell at that price? Well, it's 300 grand over retail. Okay. I don't care how rich you are. If someone's going to hand you $300,000, you're going to say no. Shut the fuck up. Who are you fooling? Shut up. What do I have to do? You have to show up at the boutique and hand your credit card over, and in exchange, you hand you 300 grand. Okay.
Vimal says, it looks like you're on your way to the Shaw Ryan podcast to talk about your time as a ranger in South America.
Oh, I wish that was that cool.
Thank you for
I
being
wish.
a member.
So
for
that's
7
another
months.
thing. That's the other
Yeah.
thing too, is all these people that want performance sports watches. Look, I've met with the community. We've met a lot of people in the community. As a whole,
yeah.
you guys aren't exactly the most active looking group. Okay, you're not exact. So, what the fuck is his name that I was making fun of last night? Who's the Asian dude?
One of the Asian guys that's some social media influencer that was on a podcast or something with Waco, I think. I don't know his name.
Oh, we just use Waco. Waco, yeah, that's the epitome of male performance, right? Like, give me a break. Have you been to a watch meetup? Have you been to a Red Bar meetup? They don't exactly send 6-inch wrist, 140-pound dudes to war, right? That's not exactly how it works, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever met an Olympic athlete?
Yeah, the most activity our group has seen is removing the rope from the dock and placing it onto the yacht. You know,
Yeah.
when they take off.
Oh, they pay people for that. They pay people for that. Shit, dude, half the people when we went to Puerto Rico, half the fucking group wouldn't even take their shirt off. But they need a, performance. I need a performance offshore RM. I need a Davis dude. Do you? How many push-ups can you do? It's great. You can wear it anywhere because I'm sporty. Are you? I've met you. Like, the most activity you have is walking to Starbucks in the morning to get a cortado. You can't do that with a leather strap? I'm sorry. It's early. I had a coffee. I'm about to have a meeting. So insulting 80% of our viewers is in the cards.
I don't think the audience is insulted at all. John D, $10 super chat. Is Terry Stern pursuing market share of young, new internet money like Audemars Piguet, ruining the reputation of old money legacy Trinity brands, might dilute their aspirational status in chasing the money? I think so. He's questioning Terry Stern's strategy of what seemingly going after younger
People aren't
market.
getting that watch. Younger people aren't getting that watch. You have to be someone who's bought watches to go to Cubitus. I don't know where this notion of entry level for that watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there
not.
was a lot of misinformation that came out prior to the Cubitus that said that this was going to be a watch that was $30,000. It was going to be square. It was for 30 somethings. I think that was,
So this is how misinformed people are, OC. This is how
Mhm.
misinformed people are. I went and I spoke with my Patek dealer about this. Number one, the majority of people that are on the list for the Cubitus already have a Nautilus or two. Okay? So swallow that. Second thing, they don't want people to keep saying, well, if you're offered a Cubitus, you shouldn't take it and hold out for the Nautilus. You jerk off. They want you to have all three. That's the way Patek works. You're supposed to collect watches from every single line and complication. It doesn't hurt you to say yes to a Cubitus. And you're probably not getting offered a Cubitus anyway. So who are you kidding? It's a mighty ego that you have there. Mighty, mighty ego. You notice that the two people that were offered Cubitus, or three in our group, I believe Russell has one. He's a fucking Patek whale. No one even knows how far the rabbit hole goes on that guy. Andy got it. Andy has how many Pateks already?
I think he bought two prior to that.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So he has two or three.
Yep.
PK was offered it and turned it down. But how many Pateks does he have? 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where are you getting? Like, where are people getting these? The egos are insane.
I mean, the reality is when retailers have a hot watch, they give it to the people who are the loyal customers, who are their top customers, who are the VIP customers, regardless of what the brand tells them. The brand can say, listen, we'd love to give this to slightly different audience or a different kind of person, but they're not going to give it to first-time collectors. What kind of bullshit was that we were hearing? Oh, it's going to be their first watch. You talk to every single retailer, said, not only are we not giving this as the first watch, we're giving this to people who've spent already hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and they already have 2 Nautiluses, and they also want the Cubitus.
3 deep, on average, minimum 3 deep. There's no entry level. Do you really think that it's still brand new? After that event in Miami, do you really think that there are not enough people for them to call to offer that watch to, that they're going to offer it to a walk-in or a first-time buyer?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe we'll get there eventually. I'm not saying we'll never get there, but we're not there now. Go look at the gray market price. The fucking green one is 80,000 or 60,000 on the retail, more than double. They're not offering it to first time people. The Panda's not even double retail anymore. The Blue
Yeah.
Royal Oak is not double retail. The Green Cubitus is 2.5 retail right now. There's no first time buyer getting that. There's no second time buyer getting that. So I don't know where people like, do they actually look at the gray market and look at prices? Do they actually talk to SAs? Or do they just eat the fucking shit meat sandwich that the internet tells them? Like what the fuck?
John D joining us says Patek Philippe has the three deepest lineup among high end magic watchmakers. They don't need to chase young money, which swings to extremes on a whim. John, do you want to clarify that? What do you mean by the three deepest lineup? But yeah, I mean, Patek Philippe has the most, has the wealthiest, the most mature collectors, and they're the most iconic and collectible brand with a 100+ year history of success, a track record over the last 75 years of tremendous success, and the watches evolve over time incrementally, like a Rolex does. Yeah, you can see a Patek Philippe dress watch from 1950, and they look the same as the watches they offer today. They're timeless.
Yeah. There's not even an argument. I mean, I don't know why people are arguing it because, like, let's put gun to the head, right? Bomb to the chest. You can have an offshore. You can have a code. Anyone you want at retail, or you can have an Aquanaut. Pick. Everybody picks the Aquanaut. You could have any Royal Oak at retail, or any Nautilus at retail. Pick. 8 out of 10 people, 7 out of 10 people still pick the Patek, and that's not
Mhm.
even their high level shit. Their high level shit, none of us have even seen except for Russell. None of us qualify. So I don't like OC, the delusion, it has to stop, especially with the market the way that it is, because the information that people are getting is going to be financially hurtful to them. I mean, reality has to kick in at some point. It's fun. We had fun. We had fun for a couple of years,
Mhm.
but things are changing rapidly. And, you know, if people really want opinions on what they should and should not do, getting on a Protect journey, getting on an AP journey versus Protect journey, to me, it's a no-brainer which one you pick.
Got CQ in the chat. CQ says the Cubitus was never going to be an easy get in the first or second years of production. Of course, that makes sense. May not ever be easy to get. SE in the chat with a flamingo blue highlighted comment. There it is. That's right. Talking about Buckley on the panel. Another flamingo blue highlighted comment. The badly needed stream. Yeah, the stream needed to happen. The stream needed to happen. We bubbling under the surface for quite some time. There's a tremendous amount of uneasiness. We're now at the 36th month of declining prices in the industry. Some have trickled up a little bit, but for the most part, watches continue to decline 1 to 3% per month. Hublot down 3% last month alone. Hublot down 3%. Other brands like Zenith, some of the other ones are doing badly. They're doing badly. We're now in the 36th month of declining prices, financial turmoil, and we're 3 weeks away from Watches and Wonders, and people are worried about. We just had some very AP 2025 AP novelties that received very mixed reaction, to put it charitably.
All right. I got to go.
All
Meetings.
right. Yeah.
People are here.
All right. Thanks for jumping on. All right. Thanks to Buckley for adding to the debate with his very, very spirited and knowledgeable commentary. Not 3. Okay, sorry. Patek Philippe has the deepest lineup among high-end watchmakers. Thank you. Thanks, by the way, everyone, for the highlighted comments. Appreciate the super chats. Those are very cool. Time to air your grievances. Yeah, jump on the panel. I have a lot. I mean, everyone has legitimate concerns in multiple areas about what's going on with Patek Philippe and AP. Those concerns can be about their marketing, can be about their product production and allocation. It can be about the customer experience. It can be about their overall strategy. You know. Wow, what a great audience. We have 50 people watching, 50 people in the chat. That's incredible. Guys, upvote the live stream. Please like the live stream. Let's see how many we have here. Come on, guys. We should be at 25 likes. Attention, all lurkers and haters. Upvote the live stream. Come on, like the live stream. If you're watching and consuming the content, at least give us a like. Here we go. A Patek Philippe enthusiast. Brian the Pipe, what's up?
Terry Stern is so much smarter than the rest of us. We can't even comprehend what level he's thinking on.
And Boston Collector. Do you agree with that? Terry Stern's so smart. He's on a different level. He's operating on a different level, different plane of consciousness than the rest of the community.
He has the benefit of growing up with generational wealth. So he knows what people are looking for that are trying to lose all of their wealth. I mean, that's what he's grown up doing. He's sucking everyone dry.
Oh, listen, listen, Boston, you hide behind the anonymity of YouTube, but we all know your last name is Hancock, so shut up.
How's it going, guys?
Going good. Russell, Patek Philippe rare handcrafts should be interesting this year. Viewable at the Salon in Geneva. By the way, I will be there. SE and I and Mr. G and a few other people are looking forward to attending the rare handcrafts exhibition at the Patek Philippe Geneva Salon. I will see you there. Russell, reach out to me on IG. I know your IG account. Just hit me a message on IG, and happy to coordinate schedules. And it would be we have like a whole bunch of different reservations that week in Geneva. So if you're coming, please reach out. It would be an honor to meet up with you.
And AP is interested in inviting you to their ethically made finger painting party with their new latest artist, the 3-year-old from Instagram from Slovakia.
Thank you, SE, for the €5 highlighted comment. Check. Yep, that's the color. You need at least that color or higher for YouTube Premium. Thank you. Not, there's no obligation.
YouTube's greedy.
YouTube, listen, I don't think. See, YouTube doesn't like tutor.
Yeah,
I'm not. You see, I'm not the only one. YouTube said, listen, flamingo blue highlight comments, those don't count towards the goal. That's not high enough. So they made the level a little bit higher. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of rumbling underneath the surface. There's a lot of concern. People want Patek to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
AP delivered some releases that I think when you at the high end with a perpetual calendar
Mhm.
did a great job. I think people are
Yeah.
looking for stuff on the not entry level, but more on the meat and potatoes part of the collection, like the Royal
Mhm.
Oak, the steel Royal Oak. We want to see the new colors. We want to see new dials. We want to see new sizes. We want to see like new materials. We want to see stuff at that 37, 41 millimeter steel Royal Oak thing. And maybe AP's job isn't to appease those people, or maybe like, you know what, we make some of those, but our collectors want tourbillons, they want minute repeaters, they want open worked, they want ceramic, they want a lot of things, and our job is to produce what we want, and the people who align with our vision for the kinds of things that we make are the customers that we attract. And everybody's chasing the top 1%. Boston, you've said it. The
Mhm.
one to the top 1 to 3% people are, Patek's chasing them. Maybe not so much Rolex, but Patek, Richard Mille, and
Rolex
AP
a
are
little
all
bit.
chasing
The Le
Rolex.
Mans, you know,
Yeah,
No,
Le
no.
Mans is an example of that.
Rolex is making a conscious effort to move more into precious metal, which is more towards the 1%.
Yep. Yeah, look at all their Daytonas that they came out with. They didn't come out with another steel one. They came out with all the precious metal, diamond, pushing all the prices up. I mean, some of those were $140,000 watches. I don't think that's,
yeah.
designed for anybody but the top 1%. You're looking at that.
Yep. By the way, we still have the poll going. We want to get to 50 votes in the poll. We only have 10 votes left, only 10 slots left to vote in the poll. The poll is: do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? It's a simple yes or no answer, and you can explain it in the chat. Only 10 votes left. So if you haven't voted, be one of the 10 that gets to voice your opinion and have your vote counted, guys. This could be the most important election of your day. So please vote in the poll. We got John D. Big fat orange super chat. Thank you, John D. Here is a little something for you to grab another cup of coffee. This is already my second cup, so I will not be doing another one today. To keep the discussion going into the afternoon, about to get the Spartan Meatheads daily activity underway, but I'm listening. Not going to miss this. Thank you, John D. People who are in that Spartan Meatheads group are very dedicated and very loyal to the group. And it's a very good, it's a good source of discipline. It's a good inspiration of discipline for them. Shout out to all the members of the Spartan Meatheads group. Thank you, John D, for the contribution to the YouTube Premium. We're well underway to hitting the goal for YouTube Premium. And I'm serious. If we hit the goal, I will buy YouTube Premium today. No questions asked. No delays. No fake grifting.
I like fake grifting.
As a proud new owner of a discontinued Patek Philippe reference, the new 5 something 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 in stainless steel with the white dial. What is the model? 5605? What is it? 5640?
5960.
Yeah, one of those. 5960. I'll remember for next time. 5960.
I'm just happy I remember.
5960. Do you levy any criticisms at all about the direction Patek Philippe is going, or some of the decisions that Terry Stern has made over the past several years? Or are you like, you know what? This is just like some chickens. Like chickens pecking at each other. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. They're going to ride it out because this is a brand that survives decades and decades and decades, appealing to the most important collectors and enthusiasts.
Look, listen. If I can speak honestly.
Well, I'd rather you not, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
It's an entertainment show.
All right. Well, in that case, in my fat ass lying opinion, figure that one out. Not everything that a brand introduces is going to be a hit. And with Patek Philippe in particular, you know, the AutoZones, not the greatest success. Interesting, appeal to some. The gravel dial ones that look like the camera, still very interesting. Still holding right around or right at or just below retail on the gray market. The Cubitus, I haven't seen it in person, so I really can't judge it 100%. It's an interesting platform. Yeah. And that's the thing about Patek Philippe, is that there is so many different styles of watches that are currently available. That, you know, look at that. What they discontinued the rose gold 42 millimeter pilot watch that looks like the most expensive IWC with extra knobs and pushers on it ever. But the blue one's still holding out there. Yeah. They play around with different genres. They're not like AP, where the Royal Oak is the Royal Oak and the offshore is a version of that. And then the Code 1159 is, oh shit, let's make a Royal Oak, but hide some stuff on the top and the bottom of it. So there you go. You can make a diverse looking collection out of your Patek Philippe journey. If you go to AP, it's all going to look the fucking same. Thank you.
You done?
I probably.
What did AP do to you?
Where did AP touch you?
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. They have one watch, and once you've got one, I can't wear any of the offshores. They're just too big for me. I love the way some of them look. That blue ceramic one that they introduced like a year or two ago, fantastic. I don't like their annual calendar layout or perpetual calendar layout, the way they do it. Other than that, I have no problem with them, but it's really, for me, in the collection size and the amount of work I'm willing to put into the collection and money, it's just a one watch brand, and then I'm done. And I also know some stuff that's going on internally that is going to make it tough on AP owners of pieces that need service. So,
This is the problem, though, Brian, with what you're saying.
well, there's a lot of problems with what I'm saying. If you narrowed it down to just one, then you might just be as smart as Terry Stern.
This is the thing. People always say, "Oh, they make one watch." Okay, you don't really know AP if you say they only make one watch, and you don't know them throughout their history. Okay, and that's what they're reminding people of now is we've been doing this for a long time, and they've made a lot of watches. Okay,
And
the Royal
all of
Oak
them
is
have
their most
failed.
recognizable, so everybody gravitates towards that, and they measure everything in the brand against that. Patek has the benefit that most people came into Patek for their complicated dress pieces, and then the Nautilus came after, right? And every Patek owners like to remind everybody, hey, you know what? We're not about the Nautilus and the Aquanaut. That's just for golfing on the weekend. You're not supposed to like that. If you're a real Patek, you wouldn't wear that to an event. If you're a real Patek person, you'd wear your complicated piece, right? And the problem, this is the problem though. No, this is the problem. AP, 95% of their watches, people under 60, like 95% of them. Any of the different variations, it's something different. You pick what you like and you let them know what you want, okay? All of them are hard to get. There's huge demand across the whole range with all of these things. It's not like there's like, oh, this is a dog Royal Oak, okay? How many dog Royal Oaks are in their whole range? The
All of them.
specifically Royal Oak,
All
right?
of them.
No, they're not dogs. Every one of them, people would go and buy right now.
Hey,
If you're if you're
for-
into if you're into AP, hold on. You don't people aren't measuring the same thing with AP as they are with Patek. They say, oh, Patek they have so many offerings. Okay, how many people actually want those offerings? They're
Me.
sitting in the case. No, they're sitting in the case. And you want an ellipse? Oh, that's a hard watch to get. It's hard to get an ellipse. No, it's not. All of them are below retail across the lineup because people don't really want weird watches. They don't want different things. They don't want, oh, I can sit in Patek and get 12 different funky watches. Okay, if you're into that, you can do that. But it doesn't mean that Patek's better. It doesn't mean Patek's better because you're measured by your best watches, and AP has better Royal Oaks than Nautilus. Okay.
Yeah, but whoa,
They do.
whoa,
They do.
whoa,
Wait.
whoa.
No, they do.
Hold on.
They do. They make
Boston,
better watches.
Boston, let me introduce you to the sultry voice of the Caribbean that is way
Oh my
smarter than
God.
you and going to make you feel stupid.
No.
CQ, go ahead.
We've talked before.
Good morning.
But my problem with Patek right now is Patek owners are being hypocritical. Okay, they go after AP because they did the collab with Cause. Okay, AP literally comes out and says we're targeting the younger demographic. We're going to do collabs. We're going to attract younger people to watchmaking. Okay, and to watches, and we want to be a brand that resonates with younger crowd of people. Okay. Then Patek goes and has an event in Miami with Marshmallow and Cubitus plastered over everything, DJ music, DJ Khaled's there. Okay, where are the Patek owners now? No, wait, where are the Patek owners now? Are you happy with that? I wouldn't be. If I was a staunch Patek owner, I would not be happy with that direction at all. And I am a Patek owner, and I like Patek for Patek. Like, be Patek. Be the staunchy old classic brand that doesn't stoop to other levels, that doesn't try to attract certain people. They make their watches. And if you like Patek as the big brand Patek, then you're going to buy a Patek watch, not the other way around. Don't like force feed Cubitus as the hottest new thing by getting Marshmallow up on a stage and having some splashy event. No, they don't do that. They don't. Patek does not do this. They don't do this.
They went younger with the
to a different
Calatrava.
level. No, it's stooping to a different level, and they've been doing it, pseudo doing it with like these hybrid bastardized pieces that are trying to be sports pieces, but they're not. And like, it's just the stuff that they're putting out there is garbage because it's too halfway. They're trying to be cool or young or hip, or they're trying to say, oh, people want to dress down more, but they won't make the watches enough of the watches that people want. When the Patek boutique opened in Boston, guess what happened? Every single person called on the phone. Hey, do you have an Aquanaut? I love an Aquanaut. I've been waiting. I bought other Pateks. I bought other Rolex from you. Can I get an Aquanaut? Oh, I'm sorry. We've been getting calls off the hook for Aquanaut. Yeah, why? Because you don't make any. You're not even trying to get to the demand. You're saying, that's not us. Okay, do that then. Be Patek. Don't say, hey, you know what? The Aquanaut, the Aquanaut and the Nautilus is not us. And then come out with a Cubitus, which is a version of that that's uglier and less attractive and bastardizes the good parts of it, like the bracelet, and stick it on a square case. And now force feed that to the young people and say, you want this. No, that's terrible. It's horrible for the brand. I think it's really bad direction for the brand too. Like, if you're a big collector of Patek and you have these complicated pieces and you want to go to a Patek event, do you want a kid that is in Miami going to a Marshmallow concert coming to your event? It doesn't compute. And I think that they're in dangerous territory because I think they're a little bit concerned that they're doing poorly with the younger demographic, but they aren't willing to make Aquanauts and Nautilus that they want. That's the problem.
But you're okay looking at the back of your fancy Royal Oak concept and seeing Spider-Man's butt sticking through.
100%. You know why?
No.
Because they're not being fake in their approach to it. They're saying we want to. No, AP
come
is
on
saying
now. Now we're
AP came out. Francois was very open about what he was targeting. He said,
wait,
"I
how
want to target
open?
younger.
No.
I want to
How
target
open was Francois
younger demographics."
when he was having the video with Don Cheadle about the fucking Marvel? Let's. I love you, boss. I love you.
100% open.
No, he wants to have a movie career. If he was open and he wanted it to be a real collaboration, they would have made other watches that actually made sense.
Why did that collaboration happen?
Because Francois, to his credit, is good at pushing into, as you said, the younger ages and trying to mix different.
No, that's not why it happened.
Oh, okay. Why did it happen? Educate.
He was friends with Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle said, "I want to watch. I want a collab watch because I'm doing the Marvel movie. I want a collab watch." At first, I was like, "Okay, let me be open to that." Like, to AP's credit, they're open to trying new things, and they're open to putting their money where their mouth is and actually making. Okay, let's push materials. Let's push future. Let's do modern watches. Let's try new things. They don't care if something falls flat. Whatever. We're trying it out. We're trying new things. And I think that's where that collab was born out of Don Cheadle saying, "Hey, like I really want to do this." And then he's like, "Okay, it'll definitely appeal to younger people, and let's make this happen."
I think I love you, Boston. I really do. You started my morning off great.
You don't have to lie. You don't have to.
No.
You don't have to
I
lie.
love it because
Please don't lie. Just tell me.
I was having a slow morning.
This is not about AP though. This is about Patek.
No. Because it really is.
Patek is the one that has the issue.
No.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty, and this is what I love, because like when people try to go after Patek, it just exposes AP, right? Because maybe you're right. Maybe
I'm not
you're
going
right.
after Patek.
No.
I'm a Patek owner.
You're not going saying
the way that they're approaching it. Okay. Everybody that criticized AP, they're doing the same thing that AP is doing, only in a worse way. I would have liked I would rather them do a Marshmallow collab watch or a DJ Khaled collab watch.
But no way.
Then do a weird hybrid. Here's our Cubitus, and then stick it in front of a DJ booth, and then invite Miami's people, and it's this weird mix of like, hey, looking at the crowd, I don't think that, like, there's very uncomfortable Patek people, and then there's like people that like aren't really Patek, and it's like,
yeah, but
I don't know. It was weird.
It was okay. We
be Patek. That's what I'm saying.
No, but we're getting into like a weird territory here, because what does a Patek consumer looks like, right? Is that person young? Is that person old? We know that the average consumer is a little bit older, but just why I'm getting like weird here is because we know Patek does so many great events when they have anniversaries and different exhibitions that are tailored to more of that high-end older clientele who's been buying from them from quite a while. So I don't see the issue with, listen, they did a Cubitus. We've all confirmed Terry Stern just wanted a square watch. It's his company. It's his and his dad's show. They made a watch. He just made a super expensive watch that has a face of his father on it. You know what I mean? And it's not getting all that criticism.
That's ugly as hell.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, people buy it. But the beauty is it's their company, and they're willing to make watches that people don't like. They knew when this Cubitus was made that there would be people who would not like this watch, But at least they tried.
Other people don't like.
No, listen, because AP makes only one watch.
No, they don't.
Yes, it is.
No,
sir,
they don't. It's not one watch.
Good sir. Good sir.
Just because.
Wait, 1 second. 2 minutes. I gotta go. 2 minutes before I gotta go. But even the Code 11, even the Code 1159, the mid case is designed based off of the Royal Oak. So to this point in their catalog, besides re-edition pieces, they do not produce any watch devoid of Royal Oak DNA. When you look
Okay,
at
so
Patek,
take
no,
the
wait, I gotta go, wait.
Pateks.
Let me
Take the
finish.
top
Wait,
two
wait.
Pateks from history, and you say, okay, yeah, the Aquanaut wasn't derived off of the Nautilus, the Cubitus weren't derived off the Nautilus, and all of their dress watches were not derived off of the older models
Listen.
from Patek, right?
I
They
think
only have one. Oh,
think
they only have
you're
two
no.
watches.
I
Sorry,
think we're confusing things.
there's
Here.
only two watches.
No.
Patek
There's
only
only
makes two watches. They're all
no.
derived off the same watches.
Oh
It's
my
either a
gosh.
chronograph, it's either an annual calendar chronograph, or it's a Nautilus. They all go back to that. Sorry, it's too close.
No, sir.
Hey,
No, sir. No.
CQ, it's hard to argue with a guy who buys the Kool-Aid by tanker truck.
Hey, listen. I thought, I was somebody who drank Kool-Aid by the gallon, but I've met somebody who hooks up straight to the factory, brother. Because if you're just telling me right now that you believe, right, just because that in the past few years the Nautilus and Aquanaut are supremely popular, as somebody who's worked at multiple Patek ADs for a very, very long time, I could tell you if 10 people came to talk to me, less than, let's say 3 of them are talking sports watches. You know what I mean? Real
Yeah,
Patek
they're all over
people,
60.
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, my first Patek I sold was a 5146 to a gentleman who was in his 40s. Most of the Pateks I've sold, as a matter of fact, are the people under their 50s. Yes, I've sold plenty to people over their 60s, but even if I really sat down and went deal by deal, most of the people who bought Patek from me are under 60, under 50 even, right? And they bought everything. I'd say sports watches are the least amount of Pateks I've sold in my career, and I have sold everything. And I've worked at boutiques. I've worked at a boutique that had more inventory than most boutiques in the world next to Switzerland. And sports watches were not what we were lining up to sell every day. We were selling
I know, but it's
we were selling
changed.
complicated
It's
watch.
changed.
Yes, it's
You
changed.
can't
But
go
like,
back and say you can't.
Listen,
but people
brother,
like
listen.
to go back 20 years and say, "Hey, you know what? They were sitting in the case. They're only hyped because of
yeah,
because of a
but
short
you're,
thing." You know what though? You know what though? If you look at what people are dressing like now after COVID, okay, and what wealthy people are dressing like in general, it's changed. Fundamentally, it's changed.
I think
Sports watches are more popular now than a lot of the dress watches until you get to the Grand Comps.
Boston, I hope whatever AP that you're on the list for, I hope they give it to you, brother.
Why do people go back for AP? I'm a Patek owner. I'm saying this as a Patek owner.
But because I don't know.
I love Patek. I love Patek.
But do you feel like the Cubitus event?
I love Patek. Okay, I love Patek. I want them to be Patek. That's my point. They're not being Patek-like. That event was not Patek-like.
But what about the event wasn't Patek?
Wasn't.
This is what I'm so
about the
I don't understand.
about the event that wasn't Patek is what? Okay, you're a company that is telling everybody we make complicated watches.
No,
we have a long history. No, we have a long history of making complicated watches. That's what Patek is known for. Minute repeaters, grand comps, their chronographs, their annual calendars, world times. Like go down the list. Those are what they have put their brand behind.
Yes,
and
but
then
that's
you
not
bring
what
out
they're
a bastardized steel 3-hand watch with a date, and you're pushing it in an event with a DJ with a marshmallow on his head. Okay, it doesn't compute for me. Saying you want your clients, you want a specific client who wants that minute repeater, who wants that annual calendar, who wants that down the road when they get older. Okay, if they're younger, you still have to start them with like a watch that Buckley got. Okay, or you start them with an Aquanaut or a Nautilus. That's fine. I don't care what they start them with. I'm just saying you can't lose sight of, like, as a brand, they're muddying the waters.
I think I gotta go Boston, and maybe if my call.
Do you think FP Journe Vacheron would do an event with a marshmallow? Are you kidding me? It's a laughing stock. They're a laughing stock right now.
Come on.
Patek is a laughing stock for that event.
No. I think maybe because you don't appreciate Marshmallow's music, and it was a little bit of a younger toned event.
I
or something
don't appreciate
like that.
Marshmallow's.
Maybe not. I don't know. But to me, like, I understand. Maybe it was like a little bit more of a you know, it's more of an EDM style event and much more casual people. And I guess I don't see anything wrong with it because
Oh,
Patek is the one
when you say
brand.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, you
No,
guys,
but
they
listen
can
to
do
me.
nothing wrong. They
Listen
can
to
do
me.
nothing
No,
wrong.
no, no, no. So
Can't you
I
just say, can't you just, this is all I want to say. This is all I want to say. If
go,
you were
go.
going to plan a Cubitus event, okay, in Miami for Patek, say it's a Cubitus event. I'm not even saying don't have the event. What are you going to make that environment look like to say this is Patek, this represents the brand, and attract young people still?
Man,
Wait,
it just sorry, I gotta go,
You're
Brian. But
probably
like,
not going to throw marshmallow up there, okay?
no,
Like
it
I'm
really
just
doesn't.
saying, it was a weird choice. It's a weird choice. It doesn't compute to me as Patek.
in that sense,
You
then
know,
Boston, you think Patek should only have Wagner and string quartets playing at their
maybe
event?
they should. Maybe they
No,
should.
no,
Maybe
sir, no,
maybe you
sir,
should
no,
be showing them,
sir.
hey, you know what? We
I,
get classy. We're classy.
I'm just wondering how Jay-Z got so into Patek early on, and he's not yet 60.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I think you're conflating a
Because
lot
they're
of different things
expensive.
there.
That's why. Bro.
No, it's not that because they're expensive. It's not that. There are many
No, for
other junk.
Jay-Z. No, for
No,
Jay-Z.
but there's many other junk watches, and hip hop industry has proved
Yeah.
this, that like Jacob and Co. and especially
Yeah,
previous
they have
generation
those too.
Jacob and Co.'s that are just really junk watches. People
He
like
had those
Jay-Z
too,
and
though.
other
Jay-Z
he,
had
he
those.
did, but
Yeah.
on the main point, people like Jay-Z get into Pateks and things like that because somebody flicks their switch, just like somebody flicked your switch and flicked my switch on why I love horology, why I like fine watches, what I'm looking for, why I like craftsmanship, right? So
But
we
I'm just
gotta,
saying that didn't exude to me fine horology.
yeah, but we got to stop that. We got to stop saying like just because this environment looked a certain way that these people aren't Patek people.
Okay, so
or
let's
these
turn that
people-
around on AP. So the cause collab was fine. There's no problem there.
Hey, if they want to do that, that is their right to do. Listen, they did the thing with
But
Travis
all the
Scott.
people,
I didn't think that
all
was
the
smart
people
to
on
do
the
Travis
Patek
Scott.
side, all the Patek people are up in arms.
Well,
They're not a Holy Trinity brand because AP did that collab.
Well, no, they're not.
Holy Trinity brand shouldn't act that way. Holy
No,
Trinity
no.
brand
Listen.
shouldn't be putting themselves with that crowd. Guess what?
It's-
Patek just did it. Patek
no,
just did
no,
it.
no, no.
Yes, they did.
No. It's very,
They
very
did.
different. It's very, very different thing.
It's not. So why is it different?
Because
How is that any
listen to me.
different?
Let me speak.
Yeah.
It's different because Patek did an event that's younger leaning, right? Just like when you go to Dubai Watch Week, all the different brands do events, and sometimes it might be classy, sometimes it might be at a bar, sometimes they might have a DJ that's marshmallow-esque. Shit, I gotta go. But like you can't say just because they had one event, you can't compare that to AP, who's done so many different things to take their brand in the eyes of people who look at it as a Holy Trinity brand, to bring it down because they're only making one watch with different complications. So just
It's
because
just
a
one
brand
watch.
has one event or they make one
Amen.
Spider-Man is just
thing
one
that
watch.
would have been
No big
younger
deal.
leaning, that doesn't make them, oh my God, they're being betrayed. Look at their current lineup. Most of their watches are honor strap. Most of their watches are still dressy, complicated. Yes, they do stuff that's a little bit casual leading because we're in a more casual world after COVID. We don't dress up in suits anymore. So you got a 5212, you put straps on it. You got a 5320, you put straps on it. But look at the variety, the diversity in the collection. I just went through AP's lineup. There's literally, you buy 2 or 3 watches, that's it. That's it. You go to Patek, there's a bunch of watches. If you truly love watches, you can appreciate. So I think like you can't just look at one event just because it was a little bit younger and it was Marshmallow and you saw DJ Khaled there and stuff like that. You can't do that, man. I'm a little bit triggered because a lot of people have done that for a long time where it's like, a brand should be this way. The clients who buy it should act this way. They should seem this way. But they're not afraid to say no to the money. And that's the thing, is like we can't do that, right? We can't say a brand should be this way. People should act this way when they wear it. They have to dress in a suit, dress in a tie. But if I'm in my baggy jeans or whatever, you're gonna take my black card. That's the issue I have. Like when we start to do things like that, I agree with you that Patek is a more refined and classic brand, and when they're presented, especially when you're focused on complicated models, it should be in a more refined, upscale, luxury environment. 100% there with you. I'm a white glove guy, brother. If I ever own a store, God willing, it will be the most luxe, experience you've ever had. That being said, at that same store, if I want to throw a party, I'd be kind of hurt if somebody said, "Look at these guys, this party. They got all the." You're sounding like an old guy. You're sounding like these guys with their loud music. I can't believe they're buying the Pateks, and it's just like that. This is a weird. It's a weird take because every day.
That's what was weird about it. You look at the crowd, and there's people there dressed up like they're going to a Patek event, and it's like, this doesn't.
Well, that's okay.
It felt
that's
uncomfortable.
okay.
It felt uncomfortable.
That's okay.
For
That's
your
okay.
clients.
That's okay for them to blend. No, man, we got to stop this, man. We're one world, bro. When you come to the islands, bro, when you come to the islands with me one day, hopefully, if you come in dress shoes, I'm putting flip-flops on your shoes, bro. You don't get to come to my island and be
I don't wear dress shoes.
No, but I'm just saying, not just you, but to whoever. Like, it's okay. It's okay to open yourself up to new experiences. It's okay for me to be a young, snappy dude, to be in a room full of old, stuffy guys and make everybody do the electric slide. That's the beauty about life, and that's the beauty about watches. We're here to share experiences, share our love and our passion. And passion is not there are no borders on passion with the music in there. I don't care if look at Terry Stern having fun. You're telling me the owner of the company can be dancing and having fun, but just because a couple dudes are on the side being
you have a classy,
little. Go ahead.
You have a classy wedding, okay? White glove affair.
Yes,
it's at the Four Seasons. It's like a beautiful thing, right? You're wearing
all the money.
Tech. You're everybody's there to have a good time.
Yep.
Would you have a beautiful, like a nice band there, or a string quartet, or something like that?
I love
playing?
This question so much.
Or are you gonna have Marshmallow at your wedding? No, you're not.
No,
it
listen
doesn't
to me,
match.
brother. Listen to me.
I'd have Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer. Love that.
Listen to
exactly.
me. Listen to me, my brother. When I have
an
amazing
Simmons,
wedding ceremony, the thing about a wedding, you're there for my love. And I'm there to share my love with you to make sure you have an amazing time, right? So just relax. Just shut it for 1 second. So if I feel like Marshmallow is gonna make the old people dance, and if you come to see, that's the beauty about the islands. You come to my wedding, you're gonna have everything. We're gonna start off a little classy, and by the end of the night, you're gonna see something out of a Brazilian carnival because I'm here to share my love with you, and I want you to share your love with me. I don't want to tell you, oh man, we should dance this way, you should look this. Who gives a fuck, bro? This is so weird because I'm spending my money, so I get to dress in a hoodie if I want to. If I'm giving you $1 million, I don't care. Like this is such a weird conversation because it's so weird to me because you hear this all the fucking time. And excuse my language, I'm just hyped up today. But when it comes to taking the money.
I know, CQ. What you're saying is, let me paraphrase. These watch brands and the retailers have no problem having a certain percentage of their customers who dress a certain way, who act a certain way, who are from a certain ethnicity or background, but they don't want to. But then there's an uproar when they visibly show that a certain percentage of their customers are that way, and they actually want to appeal to those customers and highlight the fact that, hey, you know what, there are people in that community or ethnicity or female versus male or whatever that actually like the brand.
It's a weird thing, and it's kind of why I started CP time, and it's not like a race thing, right? It's a culture thing sometimes, even just young versus old, because oftentimes like Watchbox, right? Some of my clients would be like, crypto market too, like just are young guys, right? And it's my job to show them the right way, to show them this is real horology. You don't need to get the knowledge. You don't need to get this. You could get something fine. So I'm passing my knowledge. So you know how embarrassed it'd be to me if I developed a really good client. I sent him to that Cubitus event, and then he said, like, man, people there, they weren't accepting of me because how I look, this and that and this and that. But they're making sure to take my info down to sell me the next Cubitus. Like it's such a polarizing thing, and it's something that we gotta stomp it out. It doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter what you wear. All I care about, do you love watches? Do you truly love this hobby of mine? Do you truly love what I dedicated all 35, but 15 years of my life to? That's all that matters. So when we start to do things like, oh, I didn't like that Khaled was there. It's in Miami. You don't think Khaled's going to be there? You don't think Nori's gonna be there? You don't think people are gonna be there in shorts? If it wasn't Marshmallow, it should have been reggaeton. I don't want to go to an event in Miami that's classical violins or what are we talking about? They already have the old money. The old money ain't going nowhere, and the new money likes a little bounce.
Yeah,
Like
the old the old crusty money's up in
for
Boca.
defending AP and their collaborations. I appreciate that.
Listen, I have no problem.
There's no problem with what they're doing.
No, I have no problem with AP and their collaborations as long as they have no problem with me criticizing what they once were. But when people start to say,
and I'm going to do that with Patek.
Hey, and
I think Patek was a great brand, and I think that they're going in a bad direction. I think that they're trying to go to the future, and they're struggling.
Listen. I think you could have that, but just let's not do. The event should be for this type of blah blah blah. Because that's not what it is. I think Patek sells out over AP any day. I think you could just look at the websites back and forth, and you could just see. I'm telling you, if you have if you're a multi-billionaire,
horrible.
Listen, I gotta get on this call. It's not what is hybridized? I can't tell if you're
rubber denim strap.
So oh my god, a denim strap. It's actually rubber. It's actually rubber. Okay. So Hugo hasn't been calling it classic fusion. AP hasn't used rubber. They haven't used leather. Watches come in different materials. Oh, I'm gonna die today. I can't handle
AP
it.
doesn't put their Royal Oak on a rubber.
Because they don't have. Because if it looked like a rubber, it looked like every other sports watch. It looked like a Maurice Lacroix icon. That's why they can't put it on a rubber.
Because they copied the Royal Oak.
But don't talk about fancy plastics and rubber straps, because then you'll offend Boston and his love of RM. So don't do that.
I'll be back, guys. I'll be back in a little bit.
All right. Thanks, CQ.
I got to run too. See you guys.
You don't have anything to do. Come on.
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
CQ actually works for a living.
I don't. Well, yeah, but I don't work for a living, but I still have stuff I have to do. I have to get yelled at by the wife. Bye.
Thanks, Brian. See ya. Well, yelled at by the wife. That's a daily occurrence. Nothing new there. Good discussion. Good discussion.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, this is something that you sent me, which is kind of funny. Let me pull it back up here.
I did that on my phone while I was eating breakfast, listening to the stream.
An ad with Marshmallow sitting on the desk.
That's the rant.
I know it's tough when you're doing a party. Who you pick is the entertainment and the theme of the party. I think that party was a little tacky. But it's a Cubitus launch party, and they're just plastering Cubitus everywhere. Why can't they dial it down just a little bit?
Right,
just a little bit. Like, I mean, it is a little bit demeaning for Patek Philippe to have to plaster Cubitus everywhere and to have,
all I'm criticizing is the way that they did their event. I'm not criticizing them going after younger people. I'm not criticizing who they're trying to attract to the brand. I think brands are welcome to do all of that. I think it's fair as watch collectors and loving it to say, I'm not loving the watches that they're coming out with because they're kind of like half and halves, okay, in like a weird way. It's like a half dog, half pig. You take one dog, you have a dog watch and a pig watch, and then you make a pig dog. And you're like, I don't really want a pig dog, right? I want either the pig or the dog. And that's just an analogy, but I think they're doing these hybrid watches. The Cubitus is another hybrid of taking a Nautilus. Hey, you know what? We're not going to give you a Nautilus. We're just going to make this other watch and try to give you that. But it's like, I don't think anybody wants a Cubitus over a Nautilus and an Aquanaut. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's part of the strategy that I think deserves fair criticism. By the way, the poll is still running. Let's get to 60 votes in the poll. We're 3 away from 60. The poll is: do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? he said that he didn't want Patek to be reliant on like the Nautilus. They didn't want to be seen as kind of a hype brand. They wanted to be more traditional. Yet then the first collection in 25 years is a heavily influenced square version of the Nautilus with the Nautilus dial, the Nautilus bracelet, the Nautilus ears, wings. Everything was inspired by the Nautilus, but just a different shape. And then he's discontinuing a lot of versions of the Nautilus and then redirecting people over to the Cubitus as the future of the steel sports collection. It just, he could have just, I don't know. The Nautilus is just so, and the Nautilus wasn't always loved. The Nautilus wasn't always something that was seen as attractive. It's something that grew over time, over 50 years, became something that became iconic and desirable.
And people forget that that for AP the offshores came out and they were the hottest thing. When the offshores came out, they were the hottest thing. Bigger watches, you know, they were started selling all of them. They're like, oh, this is really cool, right? They still had their dress pieces, they still had their other stuff, but everybody wanted the bigger offshores. Then it moved into Royal Oaks, really. And people started recognizing Genta, and you've got Nautilus and that, and it really took off when people started going more casual. But you can't, like, it's of course it's fair to criticize any collaboration, any event, I criticized the way that AP did their latest launch. Why did you mix it all together with these other watches that are kind of blah, right? Like, you reduce the excitement by doing that. And I think also, but this is the thing. If you look across, okay, there's a lot more options at Patek if you go to the website for different cases and shapes and sizes. Okay.
And models.
50%,
and models.
Yeah. So 50% of them, take them off the table. They're ladies, or they're too big, or they're too small for me. Okay. 50%. Boom.
For you.
After that, yeah, just for me. I'm just saying, like, just look at from one person's perspective.
Okay.
They you know, there's certain models that already are like gone. Like, so, okay, now you trim it down. What are the options for me as a collector to buy? Okay. Well, it gets trimmed even more when you look at prices. Like, some of the prices are really high, right? Not talking about secondary. I'm just saying retail price. Like, you're getting into 130s and up for some of their best pieces, right? Grand comps, like some of the higher end stuff. Most of that is 135 or above. So they have a certain clientele for those pieces. Now you look at their other stuff that's down lower. I feel like they're trying to make hybrid watches more sporty, but still try to keep their classic look. From my perspective, struggling to find that in between, okay, of a sports watch and a dress piece, instead of saying, we already have a dressy enough, like the Nautilus is a very dressy sports piece. The Aquanaut's more casual, but there's still, like, even with today, Oyster Flex Daytona is at the same level as a nice Aquanaut, blue, you know, gold one. So, like, they don't need to make like, and they're almost, because they feel like they have to make a ton of offerings, they're making all these like wild stuff, it feels like, to try to see if something hits somebody. But I don't like that they're taking away from the stuff that people want. Instead of producing a little bit more, you still have plenty of demand there. You're not going to become a Nautilus. And people that buy the Nautilus, what do you think they're going to turn around and do when they get older and they want the higher end stuff? They want to move up.
I just think, like, when you look, like, OC, go to the College Travel Collection real quick on the website, because I hear what you're saying, Boston, but when you're looking at what they're offering, yes, they're doing the pieces that are attract, there to attract a newer base. 5226G, the new 6007Gs like you're seeing on screen here, but we still have the 5227s. You still have the 6119s. We still have all the traditional pieces.
Then they moved to that other, they switched to that rubberized strap, and people are like, this is great because now I can wear this. It's not so dressed up and I can dress it up anytime by putting leather, but it's more of a daily wear. Now, I'm not saying like, I like Patek. I like what Patek does, and I like historically what Patek has done. I just saw a beautiful pulsation dial chronograph last night at an event, and it's like, this is great. Like, this is what Patek should be and is.
But they still do that. They still do it.
I know they still do it, but what I'm saying is, I feel like it might just be a growing pain cycle of trying to find some hybrid, but I hope it's almost better to just be like, no, these are dress watches and then these are sports watches, and don't try to make everything hybrid. I think they're making too many like crossover, half of this and half of that things.
I think I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that just because you have a few watches that like a 5226G, okay, it's a little bit more casual leaning, but it still has some vintage aesthetics there. But we're in a world where people aren't strictly using dress watches for dress. They haven't been using sports watches for sports for the longest while. So I don't think it's a bad idea to make a few models that give you that space. Like I all day wear a 5226G with a bunch of different shops. I love a 5227. I love a 6119, but I think I personally would get more wear out of a 5226G, and I don't see it being like in any way at all negative to the collection. So that's what I'm saying is like, I understand what you're saying where you maybe don't like some of the things that they're trying, but they're still offering you all the classic stuff. Where a brand like AP, they're only showing you what they do now. There is no classic AP.
They've moved modern.
Exactly. They've erased it. It doesn't exist. The Millenary doesn't exist.
No, they have.
Jules Audemars, where?
They bring it back as the remastered stuff.
Oh, okay. But like a watch that you used to make in the millennia, right? A watch that you were making up until 2010, probably in the 2050s.
I like the code better than that. Better personally.
But what I'm saying is like
more attractive.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is like when you do things like that, you erase collectors who do love the millenary, right? So then you're forced to live with just these new collectors.
No, because they can go vintage.
Yeah, but then vintage isn't directly with AP. They like many other brands haven't invested in their pre-owned segment. That's what I'm saying. So you end up serving a whole different master. Where what Patek is doing is slowly creating the bridges where they're getting new collectors, they're getting some new blood into their base, they're figuring it out without erasing their great history, without erasing the things that people love about them and loved about them for so many years.
I'm worried that they're hurting that thing. They're hurting what it means to be Patek by coming out with stuff that's kind of awkward. That's just me personally. That's what I think. When I look across, this is what they released. Okay. The 5164 Aquanaut, beautiful watch. Okay. They had that World Time. It's cool, but the strap kind of is weird on a World Time.
Yeah, but change
the denim strap. I don't like that the Nautilus was not on a bracelet.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that. But also,
I'm more of a purist.
Yeah, but if you're a purist, you have to look at what Patek has done, right? And they
I like Patek. I like.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when you look at the Nautilus on a bracelet, traditionally they haven't done precious metal Nautilus on bracelets beyond in modern. Like usually it's beyond the 5711R. They have in modern times, but traditionally precious metal Nautiluses were always on straps. So you can't give that the biggest, kick in the nuts.
No, I would just say, if you ask people out there that are looking at the brand, okay, even people within the brand, what watch are they waiting on and which watches are they interested in to get into tech? It's going to be Aquanaut and Nautilus. 100%, right?
No,
I'm just saying,
Unless
this is where you're wrong. Let me chime in
unless
first.
they want a
for a
dress
second.
watch, then they're going to say
Please.
Calatrava, right?
Hey, OC.
Hey.
Hey, CQ. Hey, Boston.
Hey, SE, what's up?
So-
Thanks for jumping
So
on.
great that you. Thank you for firing up that the stream that was badly needed again. And who would have thought that there's more life in the Cubitus discussion or in this discussion at all? I mean, but that's what it's all about. I mean, the fact that we can get so emotional about a topic that is so subjective, and everyone knows there is no objective solution to it. But it's just fun talking about it, and it was just amazing to have been listening to you for the past 1.5 hours. It was amazing. So I had to be part of it.
You're a little crackly, SE. You're a little crackly, SE. So just play with your AirPod settings or.
All right,
figure out your audio.
I'll switch. Just a second.
All right, cool. By the way, I do want to get back to a question that was posed earlier. It was a good question.
Mute up, Boston.
SE, I'll mute you for a bit. Question for the panel from John D. Went to a watch collector event 2 weeks ago, and the volume of dress versus sports watches was nearly 4-1. How can Audemars Piguet compete with Vacheron, Breguet, or Patek Philippe in the special occasion dress watch space? Anybody want to jump in and answer?
I'll just want to say that I agree with John D. Most watches that I talk to people about are not sports watches, unless it's Rolex. It's obviously a sports watch, but most watches that you see people talk about, and when you go to those events, aren't strictly just dress watches. It's a great variety of watches. I think AP can't compete in that, right? What dress watch could the code 1159 is not a dress watch. So unless you do something like with a perpetual counter.
Why are you saying that? That's totally wrong. It is a dress watch.
Okay.
It's a precious metal round watch. I don't know how people are saying it's not a dress watch.
I think
like what about it's not a dress watch? There's
I think in the same way that
there's Grand Sonneries. How is it not a
listen, but there's perpetual Royal Oaks, there's Grand Sonnery Royal Oaks. That doesn't make a complication doesn't make you a dress watch. The same way that
what makes it not a dress watch? The water resistance?
I would say maybe the thickness and the overall look and the overall intent of the brand was not for it to be a dress watch. Right?
No, it is. That's their modern take on a dress watch. They put it on a leather strap to start with. They have leather straps that you can buy and put it on a leather strap.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it a dress watch. If you're a purist, you will not.
It doesn't not make it a dress watch.
Well, here's the thing.
What doesn't make it a dress watch? They have all the complications that Patek have in that watch. They have all of the styling of it. They have baguettes. They have all different offers.
It still has the sporty DNA. It's like taking an overseas, for example.
What's sporty DNA? That has flying lugs. How is it sporty DNA?
Oh, come on!
I'll tell you. The Jules Audemars, for example, right? The Jules Audemars was cut because it wasn't selling at all. They had their dress lines, and they failed.
They didn't fail. They wanted to make modern dress watches. So but you can't complain about the fact that there's no similar offering. To the only people that don't call it a dress watch are Patek people.
No.
Now I think you're trolling now, Boston. Now I don't know. I don't know where we stand.
Well, you know what? Patek doesn't make any sports watches anymore because they're down to 30 meters.
Hey, I would say and yes, you can. Yes, you can. And nobody in Patek with like their definition of sport is like for sport. Like, okay, I'm just like the FP Joan line sport pieces. Those pieces aren't meant to be like
sport is going to the horse race.
Sporty. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to the
sitting
track.
in a leather chair. I'm smoking a cigar. I'm playing poker.
Be careful, CQ. Coach Boston is trying to lure us down his. We had that discussion before. He's trying to lure us down his definition of sports versus dress, and it's not a very. I wouldn't say that's the common ground. That's not what everyone thinks. But I wanted to say something about everyone going for Nautilus or trying to get at the end Nautilus and Aquanaut. I know for a fact that many of the dress watches are sold to people who just want a nice Patek. For example, the 5330G that you mentioned with the in your opinion, awkward strap sells very well. And I know that for a fact at my AD. People go in there and they just want a nice Patek, and they don't care. They put the money on the table. So I highly doubt every one of them has back in mind to get that Nautilus and then flip the 5330G as soon as possible. I don't think so.
I
People
didn't
just
say
like
that.
the
I
offering.
didn't say that. I'm just saying out of their offerings right now, the most demand across their lines is that people want an Aquanaut and a Nautilus. I'm not saying that other things are non-desirable, because there's demand at different levels for other pieces, right? There's a demand for Calatravas, of course. It's a classic dress watch, of course. There's demand there, right? And there's demand for the grand complications, of course. At the high-level collectors, they want the grand complications. 100%.
But that's not the volume. That's not the volume, and you're right. And you're obviously right that most people want the sports pieces. But I would actually argue that the other offerings are, let's take the 5226G, for example, the Calatrava, or let's take the 5212, the weekly calendar. Those are obviously not as desirable, but they're holding pretty firmly and much more than the secondary offerings of AP, if you know what I mean. They would be gone. They would be dead in the water without the Royal Oak as a carrot that is dangled in front of people's faces. That's
100%. I 100% agree with you, SE. I think the variety that Patek sells, they sell like a little bit of everything. And I only from my own experience, I could tell you as somebody who sold them that many of my conversations did not lead into sports watches. Of course, many of them did, but a large amount of them, when people are just talking about getting into Patek, we're not even today in my new position as a more of an advisor versus a straight up transaction person. Most of the pieces that people are asking me about when it comes to Patek are 5212. This is the 5226 we have on the screen here, other complicated pieces. Like many people nobody's really talking to me. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's who I interact with, but nobody's really talking to me about Nautilus anymore, right? I think that was like a temporary thing, not temporary. Listen, it's still happening, and it's still, it's going to be an iconic watch and a watch that you want if you want a certain social standing and have a certain oomph when you walk in the room. A Nautilus will always do it. But I think a lot of those guys are kind of, not there anymore in terms of people who are really transacting in watches. So I get what I think I get what you're saying, but I just don't think it's accurate.
So I agree with you in terms of the Patek collectors, the high end ones, are into the complicated dress pieces.
But even a person who, let's say you're just you just got into your first business situation, you got a good success, and you can spend 40 to 50,000
on a dress watch a lot of times.
Yeah, but if you like Patek, if you like the thing is, there's so many different reasons why people like watches. You know what I mean? So it really, some people buy watches not even to wear them, just because they like.
Right, but my point is, and this is where I think that it's an issue for Patek. Is that Miami event, more than 75% are wearing the Nautilus and stuff.
Well, okay? Yeah, but that's who. Wait, but the people who are invited. Again,
I know. Again, but to your point, to my point and your point, that's not the true Patek people that they're trying to attract are not people that are into sports watches. We know that. They're very open with it. Literally, they've told me in person, we're not into the sports watches. That's just if you need something on the weekend.
That might be true, but if you listen to the collectors conversation, not collectors, but the Patek conversations between Brian Goffberg and Tim Mazzo, they've been doing this perpetual Patek format for quite some
Mhm.
time now, and they're sharing their experiences, which are heavily influenced by their by what they see on the market, what the experiences they have
Yep.
personally. And I would doubt that some of the people that came to the brand Patek Philippe because they wanted a Nautilus or an Aquanaut kind of were in a position where other models suddenly grew on them as well because they found out what Patek also has to offer.
100%, 100%. And that's
Yeah.
my point. My point is, I think that Patek, personally, I think Patek is afraid of producing too many Aquanauts or Nautilus, but I think that they're not realizing the demand. And if they doubled production for each of those models, it would get real collectors in that have been waiting. Okay. And then they'll move up into the other dress offerings. Like
I disagree.
I want Patek to be more Patek. That's my point. I don't want them to be struggling to find some hybrid model to try to attract people. I don't think that
That's not
I
struggling.
don't think that's
That's not struggling. That is actually finding harmony and creating a perfect yin and yang situation. Also, the Cubitus. Just a second. Also the Cubitus. You said no. If asked gun to the head, people would always go for the Nautilus and not take the Cubitus. I would guess not only myself but also other people would actually take the Cubitus right now. Not only if you like it, but also because it is different enough, and the Nautilus is such an icon, but it has become kind of generic as well due to the fact that the hype was there and has declined to a certain extent. And the Cubitus release is puzzling to some people, and we've talked about it when it was released. But in my opinion, I said that back then, and I'm still saying it. This is a classic push-pull. It's not surprising that Terry Stern would say, "Oh, we're going to take away the 5711," and then all of a sudden he comes up with something very similar. He knows that. He's just playing that because he knows that's what keeps us engaged. And while we're engaged, we're getting to know all the other offerings that they have that we might have never considered because they would have completely gone underneath our radar, like JLC version. So of course he knows that the Cubitus is very similar. Of course he knows that down the line he will create another like 5711 craze similar to the one that he had, but he's only playing as if that was a problem for him. It's not a problem. He wants to have that on the side, on the back burner, because he knows that drives traffic to him as well. And during that time, he can focus on what he's passionate about as well. So it's not contradictory.
I agree with you 100%, SE. I think I don't know. I think maybe Boston didn't. I understand where Boston's coming from because you want to protect, a brand like Patek Philippe with all your heart, right? You want it to be a certain way. But I would maintain, and I've maintained this for a very long time, since my first years in the industry, no other brand protects their brand and their consumers who bought pieces from them any better than Patek Philippe. I think this event was actually a testament to that. Who did you see at this event? You saw more of the younger collectors, right? Collectors who because I know many people who were there and who got the invites. A lot of these people, this was their first event. A lot of these people, they have Pateks, they already have pieces, but this was like a little fun get together, a good mixer. A lot of people are there. Usually, right, when Patek does events, it's for big anniversaries or international exhibition. And a lot of times those invites are reserved for the big collectors who've been there for a very, very, very long time. And that ends up to be, of course, a naturally older crowd. So I don't think there's nothing wrong if you're just doing a fun exhibition about the Cubitus to make it, and it's in Miami, and you make it a little bit younger leaning, and there's a mix of crowd. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And I think when you look at all the pieces we looked at behind the screen here, we've seen all these different models in the Patek Philippe collection. There's so many different watches to love. There's so many different collections and complications to fall in love with. I don't want to like keep beating on AP because it is what it is. They've made their decision and they're going to go the way they're going to go. But I think there's no way at all that you can say Patek Philippe is diluting their brand by introducing a few younger leaner models, because they still have legendary pieces like these 5270s, and they're not changing these, and they're not going to give you a 5270 on a denim strap or something like that. Maybe they will, I don't know, but they still
So sure.
Exactly. But like, see, I'm not so like I'm not so caught up in straps. I think all these watches should be on different straps. I think when you buy a watch, you should be allowed the opportunity to buy 10 different straps if you're spending over 6 figures on a watch, right? That's just me, because a watch can just change the look of a watch. 270J looks beautiful on
All right, I'll
that
leave.
brown strap. You put it on a red or
I have
blue,
to
it's
leave.
amazing.
I have to leave because I'm going to a watch appointment. I'll just
Enjoy
leave
the
you
AP.
with this. I think they're not protecting their customers. I don't think they're protecting
Okay.
their collectors with what they're doing with the hybrid stuff. I would rather them come out with things that people want. Their collectors are asking for, Aquanauts, Nautilus. Like, why introduce a Cubitus, right? Like, it just feels like to me that they're trying to keep up some diversity, but then they're putting too many of these hybrid watches out there too quickly, and I feel like it dilutes what a Nautilus means by having something, a Cubitus with the bracelet. And you've got, well, what does an Aquanaut mean? Well, it's kind of like that Cubitus. It's like,
I think we
that's
lost
something
you.
special. It's just one of three. It's just one of 3 watches now, right? And then when they're gonna come out with a 4th watch, that's a different sports watch. Like, it doesn't. I'm
But the
just saying,
Nautilus
I would
was
prefer
never supposed to
them
be
make
special.
more. Yeah, but it is special.
Yeah, but it wasn't supposed to be special.
But if the Cubitus is supposed to be special and the Nautilus isn't,
no, the
like,
Cubitus
why are
is
you
just
making the Cubitus if the Nautilus
Cubitus
is
is
not
just a
special?
new watch. The Cubitus is just a new watch.
I know.
That's the thing. Is like, we can't like
the same reason that you guys are anti-AP and what they're doing are exactly what Patek is doing. Like, okay, AP made the Royal Oak Offshore and they put the hexagon, shape in the code, right, to keep that DNA throughout. But okay, if they take the bracelet off the Nautilus and put it on the Cubitus, you're fine with that. So, like, you can't.
I personally thought that was a misstep.
You can't criticize AP for what they're doing and then turn around and say, "Oh, it's fine if Patek does it."
Well, actually,
Like,
I would never
it doesn't work
criticize. I would never criticize the attempt, because the code is beautiful, and I don't think I've ever criticized the design or the fact that there were some things playing to the Royal Oak. The only thing is that they're positioning the different models differently, and Patek is actually, I mean, you just said they're bringing out too many things too fast. I think Patek takes their time. The only thing it did with that event was helping the Cubitus to arrive in the market even more. But they will. I'm no one knows, but I would guess they're not pumping out different kinds of models at the pace that that AP actually goes about it. So, in my opinion, it's not about AP versus Patek at all. But if you compare it directly, and of course sometimes it's fun as a shtick to make it a little bit more competitive, then AP really only cut away their dress watch line because it wasn't working. I'm not sure whether I agree with CQ that every strap belongs on every watch, because the 50 to 70 J, for example, belongs on a leather strap. 5227, I wouldn't experiment with that, and I think that's not what you meant. I meant
colors more than textures.
Yes, and some watches, even dressier ones like the Whistle Calendar, are strap monsters. So you should actually experiment with it.
Right.
And obviously, everyone can do what they want. Right. But I think it's also important. For example, I have the 5196. I'm sure that soon there's going to be a successor to that. Maybe the 6196, a very very conservative, traditional manual wind Calatrava. And again, that's an offering that is more for the conservatively, traditionally purist leaning kind of collector, and it's important not for them to come out with a calf strap, for example.
Agreed, and that's the only problem I've had with what they've been releasing is that I would be fine with a Cubitus, like, for instance, the platinum one. That one, to me, is something different because it doesn't have the Nautilus bracelet. It doesn't. It's not like, it doesn't look like a Nautilus. It's It's
I agree.
it's like, hit that, whatever. Okay, you can still tell it's a Patek, but it's clearly not like on someone's wrist. You're not like, oh, that's a Nautilus. No, you're not.
I don't know if you
But
can.
the other
I
one,
don't know
you're
if you
like,
can remember. I don't know if you can remember, but we talked about it, and both of us were certain that they would not come out with it on a metal strap. We would have expected it and
yeah,
wanted it to be similar to what the Overseas is offering, a quick change system, a different kind of straps, something like that of that nature. That was surprising, no question about that. But then again, well, brands do what they do, and they don't. Sometimes it follows a certain logic, sometimes it doesn't, and we just have to eat it up or leave it.
We there was a Vacheron event that a member of the community attended last week, and there was also this Cubitus launch event in Miami. And the feedback that we got from both events, from the people that were there, was that at the Vacheron event, it was almost universally people wearing very hype versions of the Overseas. So it's basically everyone had dual time or complicated Overseas, precious metal Overseas. They were showing off those pieces. And we had Shelby at the Cubitus event in Miami, and he said that it was, I think, 90% Nautilus and Aquanaut. So I mean, it was mainly people showing off. Let me just see if I can pull up an example.
I think at the Cubitus event, you expected people to wear sport watches, right? So the people that I knew who have multiple Pateks, they were like, well, obviously I'm going to wear, Aquanaut or Nautilus or something more.
I know, but that obviously part is something that I think I want to delve into a little bit, because John D's original question was like, hey, I was at a watch collector event. I saw a lot of dress watches there. What is it about these brand events where what you want to wear is changing? I mean, what the pieces that you want to show off are either the hard to get pieces or the hype pieces or the very desirable references in a already hard to get collection. Is that shaping our view of what the brands are or should be in either a positive or negative direction? I mean, if I'm going to a Patek Philippe, I only have one Patek, right? But if I'm going to a Rolex event, I'm going to wear either the most expensive piece or the craziest piece that I own.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that's influencing our definition of and our criteria for watch collecting, or what we think of these brands? Like when Boston says, why not make the Nautilus just a little bit more attainable? Like, why not make a little bit more so people can, it's not bad for the brand to have a Nautilus that's successful and iconic.
I think that's a great point, right? Because, when you look at the video about the Cubitus event that you pulled up on our CP Time page, that gold vintage Patek on the bracelet, that was the most baller watch in the room, right? So I think that's a reference. I think it's 1518, if I'm right.
Yes.
And that was the watch that a lot of people in that room try to put on and try on and stuff. And a vintage watch, a super complicated piece of watch, is very, very important to the horological history of Patek. That was the big watch that a lot of people in that room, were really gathered. But as you said, most people in the room were wearing more sporty things. And I think we're in a very interesting place in the watch world in terms of the communities and collectors and enthusiasts. And, I don't think there's one, I don't know how to say it. There's no one saying what's important in watches, right? Because everything is different. Everything is subjective on why you collect and why you spend your money on a watch. But for a long time, people would say watches like that 15, 16, 15, whatever, 15, 18, that vintage Patek was important for what it stood for. Today, there's not that many people who really champion these things. So we're leaning more on the aesthetic side. So when you go into these rooms, now it's more so, okay, the hottest watch, the most hype watch, the hardest watch to get, where before it was more about the most, historically important watch that I found when I was traveling in Italy. You know what I mean? It was more about that. It was more about the story of acquisition, where now everybody knows your acquisition story. So it is, the jockeying has been a little bit different. But I think also you got to take that with a grain of the salt, because if I have more than one Patek in my collection, one dressy, one sporty, and I've been invited to a Cubitus event in Miami, I'm wearing a sporty watch. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But you're right. What to wear in the rooms have been changing. That Vacheron experience doesn't surprise me at all, where everybody is trying to get the more hype overseas. Vacheron is very, I don't like the game that they're playing. I'm hearing a lot of feedback, and I'm seeing a lot of things on social media and Reddit about availability of their pieces, and a lot of pieces that they were kind of making people buy bundles of, and making you jump hoops for, are readily available, like the new overseas Blue Dial dual time or retrograde. Seen it available at multiple ADs. You can walk in and get it now, right? And maybe at the beginning of the year, the end of last year, that was a watch that they want you to bundle or make you do, all type of things to get. So I think, brands have been playing this game, and it's very, very shaky, because what do you wear, what impresses people in the room is so hard to know right now. But it's very interesting to see what the crowds are. But now that Boston's gone, I do want to say, like, we can't look at events just because it looks a certain way, or the music is a certain way, or whatever, that it's not in line with the brand. I think that's a very closed-minded way to think. And like, it's something where, like, it's a dangerous road to go down, because the next path you go after, like, hey, this event doesn't feel like it's for the brand, is, well, certain people shouldn't be wearing this watch. And that's something that's already going on in the industry, and is going on with a bunch of different brands. I'm not going to speak about that here, but when we start with, hey, this event isn't what it looks like, it's like, what does a luxury event in Miami look like? If you go to Art Basel, what are the events looking like in Miami? Don't they look like the Cubitus event? We just gotta be a little bit careful in that.
Yeah, but in Boston's defense, a lot of what he says is just shtick. He just wants to kick a third and watch what's happening, because he's obviously sometimes triggered as well when it comes to AP and having to defend them, and then obviously you go into attack mode. But it's only meant in good fun, all of it. From a brand's perspective, I would say you couldn't have scripted that better, because the 1518 became such a there was such a focus on it, and the 1518 is a historical piece. It's a complicated piece. It shows at a fun event what kind of serious, historically, but also technologically, what kind of serious brand Patek is as well. So it got a huge focus, and in this way, I think it was a win for Patek as well. And I know one person, for example, that was invited to the Munich event for the Cubitus launch, and I also talked to someone that is connected to the whole invitation process, and they wouldn't say it expressively, but in some cases, the people who are invited to these events are indirectly told that it might be a good idea, or they know it's a good idea. Like you said before, to show up with a sporty or so quote unquote younger model. When you go to an event like that, for example, the launch in Munich, they intentionally invited younger people. They invited people who had bought predominantly more sporty types, not the people who had bought the high complications, because they wanted to make it a different event. I think they are doing this push-pull on different levels, so that different crowds get to meet each other and exchange and find out what different layers are there to the event. So it would not have made sense to invite all the big whales with all their minute repeaters and their split seconds perpetual chronographs to a Cubitus launch event in Munich, for example. So that's why they're directing that in a certain way, and it makes sense.
Exactly.
Let me just jump in here. I think a lot of the frustration that leads to criticism for both Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe is multidimensional. And so let's look at some of those planes on which they're being criticized. Number one is the marketing. And I understand the point that you made, CQ, but AP also got the same backlash, by putting out
I agree.
an ad like this. Their collectors, some of their collectors, not all, but some of them said, like, what? I mean, what are you doing? Are you trying to show that the brand represents this? I don't feel like I represent this, so therefore I feel a little bit awkward or uneasy. And there's not an understanding that, hey, this is a marketing campaign. We're trying to show a certain vibe. We're trying to show a certain tone. We're trying to communicate that we have certain values or whatever. Or maybe they disagree with the values that the brand is trying to communicate. So that's one level. And I think also people are frustrated, legitimately frustrated with the allocation process and how hard it is to get the pieces. And the point that you just brought up earlier about certain brands like Vacheron and others. I mean, Patek is doing it. AP does it as well. The feeling that you need to buy many watches from a brand in order to show that you're a loyal collector, that you have to buy things that may be less desirable or you may not be in love with in order to be considered a well-rounded collector. That's one thing. That's another thing. The third is the actual customer experience itself in the boutiques, not being emblematic of what a luxury brand should be. People feeling that they're not respected. People feeling that just the experience overall is subpar for going in and making an appointment, and how they're being treated, the quality of the sales associates, their timeliness of communication, their knowledge of the product really doesn't matter all that much, but just in terms of their professionalism dealing with customers. Then fourth, and I think the fourth one is an important one as well, and this is the one where I'm going to kind of bait SE a little bit, and that is the product.
You've baited me already.
Yeah, the product itself, because I think a lot of the frustration with Patek Philippe is how they built up the launch of this model, and they said it's 25 years in the making or whatever it is, and they came out with this, and overwhelming, some people were happy with it, but an overwhelming majority of the people, and some of them are not Patek Philippe customers. Most of the people who criticize the watch are not Patek Philippe customers. They're not owners. They're not fans of the brand. They're not loyalists. But even so, the criticism was pretty, I'm not going to say unanimous, but it was overwhelming that they didn't like the watch. And so they were very upset with the brand that this was the watch they came out with. So there's multiple levels where I think Patek is feeling a lot of heat. And then, of course, you add on top of it Terry Stern's disastrous interviews, where the things that he said, we won't even go into that, but you can see why heading into Watches and Wonders, Patek Philippe is, all eyes are on Terry Stern here to see what he comes up with, because people aren't super thrilled with the Cubitus, and they're not happy with the customer experience. They're not happy with having to buy watches that are $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 just to even to consider to be qualified to be a Patek customer. And they're not happy with the way they're being treated with the SAs. And on top of it, the marketing is shit. So how much shit can we pile on top of this shit sandwich for watch collectors right now in 2025?
I haven't heard any shit, actually, because you can actually, let me use an analogy. For example, if you want to attain a fit body, if you want to if you want to flirt with a 10 out of 10 girl and get her to be your girlfriend, for example, you will have to first and foremost be sure that you are that you're putting in the work and not going into complaint mode and say it's so unfair for me because I'm starting here at that point when it comes to sports, or it's so fair because this guy got a similar girl, for example. And that's what most people are doing. They're not assessing the situation, and they're putting on the table themselves, and instead they're just pointing to what they consider to be unfair. And therefore, I think if you're saying people didn't like the launch and it was was launched to mixed reviews. Do you think the AD feels that? Not at all. There's a huge demand, and it's not only because people want to flip the watch. It's just that I think like you said, a lot of the people who are complaining are people who, in the example of getting the girl or getting the body that they want, would much rather complain online or talk about why it's not possible and how the world is unfair and how they have an idea of how it should be, instead of looking at how it is and evaluating whether they have the potential to actually do it and then executing on it, instead of just pointing the finger. That's what I think, and I think that's what Terry also meant. Their talk is cheap, and in the end, only results are a sizable measure of success.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think there's a lot of good points to unpack there, but I think for sure a lot of people who are making a lot of their noise, aren't even going to buy a Nautilus or even want to. I think if Nautilus is not a lie, or however they're plural, if everything was fully available now, that you could go in and buy one right now, meaning that the market was back to retail, I don't think that many people, all the people who are in all the chats and all this stuff like that, they wouldn't go to get a Nautilus. But I think it's just unobtainium, so it's easy to poke fun at something like that, or the situation is what it is, and it's a unique situation, right? We've never been, at least I've been alive, and what I've heard from most people in the industry, we've never been in a situation where the demand has so far outperformed the supply in just a few specific models across specific brands. And I do think, OC, you're right. Like when you put everything together with the experience, with this, with that, not being able to get watches, essays not being as good and as friendly as they once were, depending, of course, the boutique or the 80 that you're dealing with, I could see people having an overall negative tone. But like SC's saying, this is like dealing with a beautiful lady or significant other. But in the same way that you got to work on yourself and you got to acknowledge the situation you're in when you're gonna, you're approaching a lady you want to court. It's also, why are you approaching that lady? Are you seeking love? Are you seeking to build a family? Are you seeking to really make something happen here? Or are we just looking for a great time in Miami? Right. And that's the difference that in mentality that's going on. When I started to sell watches, everybody, either they really like, if you're talking to your Patek, you love the watches. You love Patek. You knew so much more than me, and I could just have a coffee with you and you tell me all the amazing stories about Patek and this watch and all the other watches you collect. And that consumer has just changed into a different consumer, right? And they don't know anything about watches. They're buying Pateks like they're buying Submariner Rolex, right? So it's just a whole different thing. So I think people will always find reasons to complain. I think on the marketing side, that I give like the marketing efforts that I've seen AP doing, I give them more critique than a Cubitus event, because I think the marketing that's going to last for so much longer, I don't know who that's pointed at, right? It's all younger people just jumping in the water who look like their parents bought them APs, right? Like when you look at that one commercial where they're at the beach, it just looks like if I was a rich dad, these are all my kids are just wearing all my watches, scratching them up at the beach. That's what it looks like to me. So I don't understand where that's pointed. And I think a lot of these brands are being courted by big marketing companies and agencies that are just taking their money to make these advertisements that are just speaking to nobody. I don't think even the youth are chasing when it, like you see this ad here, is like, nothing about this makes me want to buy an Audemars Piguet. Nothing about this explains to me that this is one of the oldest independent brands in existence, in continuous existence, with family members named Audemars and Piguet still on the board. None of this explains to me how impactful the Royal Oak has been on the industry. None of this explains to me the complications. None of this explains to me that this is even a luxury watch. You know what I mean? This doesn't even say luxury to me. So I definitely understand when people see marketing like this, they're like, what's going on? But, unfortunately, the people who are in some of these higher decisions aren't the watch people we wish they were. You know what I mean? Like, we wish everybody, like when you see, I can't think of something right now, but there's certain brands out there, when you see the people who are involved, you're like, I'm glad that person is involved. You know, like Mr. Fabrizio Stigliani at Bulgari. I'm glad he's there because he's just doing amazing things, and he just makes some unique watches, and he's keeping the aesthetic of that brand a certain way. And I don't see a brand like Bulgari, for instance, doing a shot like this, even though it would work for their jewelry, but not for the watches, because it just doesn't make sense. So I could see if I was somebody 4 or 5 APs in and I saw something like this, and this commercial is even the worst to me because this is a commercial celebrating the 150-year anniversary of the brand, and it instead of showing, it shows 3 watches in the whole thing, right? And this is the beauty, right? So I come from a creative background, and the test of good content is what do you see when the sound is off? If nobody's walking you through what you're supposed to see, what story is your eyes telling you, right? And only because I know the story of Swiss watchmakers were basically farmers who during the winter make watches, that my mind is putting together the story. But if I do not know that, I'm just seeing a young guy in some farmhouses. Okay, he had a pocket watch in the beginning. Okay, there's somebody working on a movement of a watch, but we don't know what the watch is that they're working on. All of this, no watches. Okay, there's a drawing there's a gentle drawing of a royal oak. And here we are going towards the end of the advertisement now, and you still have not told me what are we talking about? What's going on? We're in the moon now. There's like, so this again is just somebody in marketing who's been taken advantage of to spend all this money to do all of this, and it's not even telling you that it's a watch company. If it didn't say Audemars Piguet, you just think that's somebody's student art project. You know what I mean? So I understand. Go ahead.
Or they actually want, they know their customers are those boys and girls at the beach that are being bought the watches by their parents, and they know they have a short attention span, so it doesn't really matter, and it's not that important. And that's, I think, one criticism that people utter about AP, that if you came from a more traditional perspective, that these quote unquote woke commercials are taking the brand image-wise in a direction that they felt uncomfortable with. I mean, I don't want to talk about AP versus Patek too much without Boston on the panel, and especially not, putting words in his mouth. But I think he would have said, when you said before, if you look at that commercial, what's special, or what's luxurious about that? He would have said what's luxurious and special about the marshmallow thing. He would have said that's similar, and I think that's why he jumped in due to this Miami event, because he sees, like many others as well, that Patek is going to in a certain way into a similar direction that they have never gone into, and that's something that you can actually criticize Patek for. But the difference is, most of the Patek collectors, or of the traditional parts of the customer base, have nowhere near the focus on that Miami event of this Cubitus that we have at the moment. So there's no.
I think we lost you.
What they stand for. You hear me?
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, you're still crackly, but we're still working hard to understand what you're saying, because it's important, good content. But you're still crackly, but keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Oh, I think we broke him. I just want to jump in to say, oh, no, it's bad, I see.
Yeah, real bad. I'm gonna kick you out and you jump back on. Make sure you hit the settings and try it, and check your audio before you join the panel. It's tough coming from Germany, but also the AirPods are never good. AirPods over Bluetooth are not good. If you have dedicated wired headphones, that'd be better. There was something I wanted to say here.
Great stream, by the way. I love a morning stream. This is nice.
No, the stream is only as good as the quality of the audience. Even the audience is even more important than the panel, I'll be honest with you, because the audience is the absolute best. I mean, you have Russell 996 in the chat. I don't know if you know Russell. I won't say his Instagram because it's a secret Instagram, private Instagram, but it's unbelievable. He has the most incredible Patek Philippe's in the world as part of his collection, including the Ferrari, that the hand painted enamel Ferrari that you see in his avatar.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I
Yeah,
remember
so
that.
he's amazing. There was something I wanted to remember, and I can't. Oh, the poll. The poll closed. Okay, the poll question was: do you agree with Terry Stern's strategy for Patek Philippe? We had 70 people voting, and it was 100% tie. It was 50% said yes, 50% said no. So it's a very, I mean, you can't get any closer than that. Very polarized community.
When will
Now that
those
Essie's
results?
now that Essie's
When will
back on,
those?
I want to say, yeah, go good. You want to comment on the results?
Well, actually, I only have 7% battery charging left. So let me just say one thing. I was in a funny way trying to say, when will those results be shared with Terry Stern, because I'm sure he cares. but before, when I said I was talking about the Miami event, I'm pretty sure that the majority of Patek owners or enthusiasts don't have to focus on that Miami event like we have right now. And so there's no need to be worried for Patek because their brand image is damaged by something like that, because the people who care, they look at it, and the people who are not in that kind of, who are not in the brand for these reasons, they didn't even notice it. And that's the difference is AP really went all out with it. That's their image-wise for their entire line. And that's, I think, the difference.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just people who, just to get back to this point real quick, because it is important. I think even though an overwhelming majority of people who criticize this watch were not Patek lovers, I think even of those who were Patek fans, they weren't super thrilled with this, a lot of them. And so I think that puts a lot of pressure on Terry Stern and Patek Philippe to do even more in the aftermath of this launch to win hearts and minds, given that there's all those other things, the marketing, customer experience, the tying, the purchase history requirements, all of those things. The product has to be exceptional. It has to be better than ever. And so they have to work harder than ever, I think, to come out with models that are great. And why not kind of go to the 5811 and say, you know what, we're going to come out with a rose gold 5811. Why not rethink the strategy of limiting the stainless steel Nautiluses and come up with a couple of new dial colors? Why not, like, would it kill them to actually lean a little bit on the Nautilus and the Aquanaut more?
I mean, it might, right? Because then it just changes the makeup of the entire brand. If you just say, hey, we're gonna, cause look at APN. I hate that we have to keep bouncing them back to each other, but they're just good mirrors of each other because they're both brands that have been around for a very long time. Both brands that have achieved all the heights that you could want to achieve as a brand. Nobody can talk about their capabilities or watchmaking ability, but you've seen AP turn into the Royal Oak brand, where Patek is like, we don't need to. We have money. We're a profitable company. We like making a lot of variety. Unfortunately, the demand for a few of our sports models over the past 10 years have just exploded. Over the past 6 years have just exploded to a point where, to get them is very, very difficult. And now we need to make you go through a certain process to get it. But, for a brand that's onto its way to 200 years old, to let a 5 to 10 year period change your whole business, I think would be not smart. I think, there's nothing wrong with having a 5811 in steel versus doing the precious metal rollout and things like that. I think that, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but I also think for them, it's the standpoint, like, we don't need to do it. And we've seen other brands who've done it who really, I mean, look at Gerard Perregaux, man. They got spanked so bad. They're getting spanked so bad because they've always kind of been the L'Oreal brand, but because they peaked during the market and then just got dropped, a lot of brands are like that. And AP it's slowly like that. And, you can say Patek too. Patek, the value on the secondary market isn't as strong, but there's just so many more models in the secondary market to even buy. Where if you're a big Patek fan, you have a great value now if you're shopping for models on a strap. Where if I'm a Royal Oak guy, how much Royal Oaks are you gonna get that aren't looking? They're slowly turning into Panerai, right? In 5 years, what Royal Oak can be released that's gonna make your heart go boom boom? You know what I mean? The movements are already so good. The movements are already super efficient. So they're going to have to start doing like 200-hour power reserves and things like that, because everything else, this perpetual calendar movement they've made, what more do you want? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to evolve past it. It's already amazing. Of course they will, but like, you're going to have to really work hard to impress them beyond the systems that you've already achieved. And I think the beauty about Patek is they can give you a world timer with a glass pointer hand. And that's like, oh, that's impressive. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things it can do that's still very impressive, that's very fun, that's very unique, that doesn't look like the Nautilus. I'd say a lot of their great pieces that came out in the past 5 years haven't been the Nautilus. The Nautilus is just the thing that everybody's chasing just because the market became the market, but for them to lean into it too much would be, not according to what they usually do. But I do think there is a big issue here where we went from wanting to get more people into the hobby, more enthusiasts and collectors to buy watches and love watches. And then we got them all for COVID, but they're only sticking to a few brands. So there is this issue now of a growing number of people who are like, you can't get a Journe. How do you get an FP Journe? How do you start? And it's slowly turning like that with AP. How do you start with AP? With Patek, it's a little bit easier if you like some dressy watches, but it's still like kind of difficult to start and figure out how do I get to that watch. And before, we were just never in that situation. So it's something that's very new that I do think brands need to figure out, because it's just creating a lot of negative energy, and in all type of different aspects of the watch industry, of people just being a little bit disillusioned, and they just they just don't like the experience of buying watches. I do agree that there's a lot of things that need to be worked on. The experience, most of it, the experience was good and there was clarity in how I can get a watch, how list works and things like that, I think we wouldn't really be nitpicking on commercials and events and things like that. I think this is all born from not being able to get watches or bad experiences that a handful of ADs have, kind of made all over the world of watches.
Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting. What would you like to see Patek Philippe do? Are there one or two things that you think that they've missed the boat on? Like a couple of easy things that they could do to the lineup to generate a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and likability and support heading into Watches and Wonders? What do you think? I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
I'm always ready. I'm always stocked and loaded. I think the 5212, having a black or blue dial variation of that is just low hanging fruit. That would be so beautiful to see that handwriting style in a different font coloring. I think that would just be a hit. I think people love that watch now, and they do very, very well for them as well. I think from them, just a few more variations in your Kyle travel line. The complications I don't really care about. I think they're doing well, and of course you're always going to give us complications, but I love to have good offerings for my base level consumer, my consumer who's just getting started. And I think refreshing the 5027 line, maybe a 5827, maybe give me some unique colors there, give me a few more colors on the 6119 would be interesting to me. Some type of variation of 5226G would be kind of cool to me as well. But like this watch at 5212A, imagine this with black, or my personal preference, if I could get a piece unique, it would be chalkboard green and all the font would be white, so it looks like chalk writing on a dial. and I
Oh,
would call
wow.
it the chalkboard. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because this is a school piece, right? This is meant to be like a school watch. So imagine having the chalkboard variation. I think that would sell out. You could do it for whatever boutique limited edition. So I think there are a lot of simple things like that where they have some amazing platforms, some amazing complications. I think they can have fun with aesthetics and everybody would be okay. We don't need a big revolutionary new watch from Patek. But I think that's there's a lot of improvement in just the aesthetics of the entry level Kyle travel line that can be done, or even they're slightly above entry level with like this piece, where you can get a 5212. This can be your first watch if you have a good relationship, but it'd be nice if like there was just more than one option for it. So I think for me, that's all I want from Patek. Give me a few good looking watches. I think personally they've been doing the best in this whole market of just giving you good variety without erasing the past and erasing the Cloud Ken says Green Weekly is too fun. I think Terry's having fun, man. Look, he has a marshmallow in Miami. He's designing, I mean, so he's dancing. So he's not designing. So he's willing to have a little bit of fun. I think that's a problem, right? When they do have fun, we jump on them and we criticize them. So it makes them not want to have as much fun. I think Patek is a one brand. Let them experiment. Because look at this 5212. Nobody was expecting this. Nobody cared for a weekly calendar. They did a unique complication with unique aesthetics, and they made a watch that, in my opinion, it's a hit. Now, people would say, oh, it's under retail or at retail on a secondary market. It's not a hit. That is not what defines what is a good or bad watch. I think we really got to get out of comparing releases to the market value, because as we've seen, the markets are they're held up by different forces. You always don't know. And also, like right now everybody's just chasing certain models. So a model like this would slip through, where if this came out 10 years ago, this might have been the model that everybody's chasing for. Like, oh my gosh, you have a 5212. So it's just kind of a time thing. So that's what I'm looking for them. That's my big want, is a different variation of the 5212. But I think if they just give us some nice aesthetic adjustments, of course, it's going to give us one or two movements. I think that's all I'm looking from Patek. I don't need big grandstanding pieces, because when we have big grandstanding, you have the Cubitus effect, where you open it up and everybody wants to hate on you, criticize you. So I'm okay with nice gradual improvements, and maybe give me something new, but you don't need to hype it up too much. Just give me a release, and let me digest it.
Speaking of releases, you could be Omega, and Omega launched today what is a new Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean World Time in what they're calling deep black, in either turquoise or gray. And this is a new introduction from Omega. It's the Seamaster Planet Ocean with a 45.5 millimeter brushed ceramic case, 600 meter depth rating. And so listen, Patek Philippe and AP, you can criticize them all they want, but look at this stuff that Omega is putting out. Who's going to want this? Come on.
Listen, it's not for everybody, for sure, right? It's not for everybody. But if you like a deep sea, this is way more than a deep sea will give you for less of a price. You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's like, listen, this is not for anybody, but if you like a world timer, if you like a diver, if you like a bigger watch, just lighter on the wrist, this is for you. Omega does this because they have so much movement, so much cases, so much time and money that they're allowed to experiment and like keep pushing a needle, right? And we're gonna sit here and say, not for me, but if you're somebody who enjoys the Planet Ocean line, and there are people who do love Planet Oceans, this is a cool watch. And I honestly could see myself buying both of these watch on the secondary market, because I think this is a cool piece, and I could see myself wearing them in certain situations for sure.
It is a very specific offering to do a Planet Ocean with a complication. This is a titanium center with a varnished world map. It has a brass outer portion with a honeycomb texture around the dial. It's made in black ceramic with brushed finish and laser ablated bezel insert. 45.5 millimeters in diameter, 51 millimeter lug to lug, 17.4 millimeters thick. 600 meter depth rating, and 16,400 euros is the retail price. 16,400 euros. So this is the Omega Super Ocean Black Ceramic World Time.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. But again, if this was a Rolex watch, what would be the price? Like, it doesn't need to exist, right? But you think about it, like, you see something like this, and it's like in-house world timer movement, most advanced escapement. So you don't have to service this watch as much, twice as long as any other watch. It's Meta certified, all the certifications. If this was any other brand, 2.5 times the retail price. You know, if this was AP, $100,000 watch. You know, so of course this isn't for everybody, but I like that Omega and other brands give you watches like this, because when you look at a watch like this and then you look at certain, like Richard Milles, for instance, it's like, you know, it really makes you think of like what's going into it. Again, aesthetics not for you, but just when you think of like break the pancake apart on like in-house movement, ceramic case, laser ablated dial, which if you look on the normal world timers that have it painted like the world, the laser bladed dials are amazing. You know, really nice layout, really good engineering and aesthetics here. Again, this is for a unique, specific group, right? Let's point back there. But if you take that part about it, brands out there would charge you. This would be, if this was an AP, this would be a $80,000 watch easily. World timer ceramic, they'd put it on if they put it on a ceramic bracelet, it'd be $100,000 watch. Why? The chronos right now are closer to $100,000 on the ceramic bracelet. You know, 80 to 90. So not for everybody, but actually, honestly, I'd buy this watch. I won't buy it at retail, but I actually like this color, and I like a lot of. But I was born into the big watch world, right? So my favorite watch, my first watch was a Invictus Super Russian Diver. So what's that, 48? Then I fell in love with Super Avengers, and I used to think a 41 was a small watch. So I'm not the best judge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So great show. CQ, thanks for jumping on. I want to thank Essie. I want to thank Boston Collector and Buckley as well for hopping on. Guys, let's get to 50 likes. If you just joined the live stream, or if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. I also want to remind people that you can get in touch with CQ. You can go to Gottlieb & Co.
Or CQthewatchguy.com is a little bit easier.
CQthewatchguy.com is easier. And also you can reach out to CQ at CQthewatchguy on Instagram. Guys, hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, guys. Peace out.
See you later.
See ya.